it is finally time. The first presidential debate of the year here between President Donald Trump and Democratic challenger Senator Joe Biden. I am one of your hosts here for this watch along, John Rocha, joined as always by the Brad Bruja herself. Super chatter, $750, folks. That is Dorina Arellano. How are you, Dorina?
Hey, buenas noches, mijos and mijas. ¿Cómo están? I do not want to watch this debate, but we have to, and we might as well watch it with my friend Rocha here, with you guys. Thank you for joining us. Let's give this shit show a whirl, as my world girls would say. Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is coming live tonight, starting at 6 p.m. PT. This is our pre-show here. Thank you so much to all of you who are joining us live for the pre-show. We are going to watch the entire debate. I will have to dip out, unfortunately, for a little bit because I've got an interview I got to do, but then I'm going to jump back in. Dorina's going to steer the ship after I jump out, then I'll come back in. But we're going to watch the debate in full, and then we're going to talk about it afterwards. Get your analysis. Some of you are going to get to come in live and ask us questions. Those who donate at the $10 and above level, who are already part of the Patreon, to get to do so. But also those of you who are not part of the Patreon, the Outlaw Nation Patreon, you can donate $10 on the StreamYards and then come on, or Streamlabs rather, and then come on in and ask us a question live if you want. I know we've got already some people who are Democratic and Republican, independent, a liberal, conservative, arch conservatives, all up in here in the chat already. So this is going to be a fun time. And maybe you all are just like Dorina and I. Neither of us necessarily wanted to watch this debate solo. So watching it with you all, it's kind of like we're all cradling each other as we watch this thing, and hope we don't go nuts on each other throughout this thing. Dorina, what are you looking to see from this debate tonight? I mean, aside from all the jokes and the funny stuff, like, what do you think we're going to get tonight between these two people?
Look, here's the thing. This is not, I've said it before on this show, this is not a normal campaign. This is not a normal, what's going on right now in the country isn't normal. We've had, obviously, there's a lot of systemic issues that we've had since before Trump took office, but this administration has obviously done a lot of corrupt criminal things. And I hope that Chris Wallace is, I'm sure he's aware of that. I hope he asks the right questions, because this should not be treated as a normal debate. Yep. I hope he asks them exactly. It's not just about the New York Times story. It's about what's going down in the Georgia detention centers that's being investigated, the forced hysterectomies, the fact that he wants to put in a re-education commission. And obviously, like, people keep saying, oh, he's so smart, he didn't pay taxes. I'm like, it's not just about the taxes. It's about the fact that he's millions and millions of dollars in debt with who knows or what country he owes his money to. Like, that's some crazy shit that nobody knows yet. So, yeah. But we know that it's out there, and we know that he's clearly, something's going on, whether it's money laundering. I'm not sure what's going on, John, but we'll see. Also, for those of you, we're actually going to be watching the debate just on YouTube. So if you don't know how to watch it, it's obviously on TV on every channel you can think of, ABC, Fox, CNN, etc. But you can also, most of these networks will be streaming the debate on YouTube. So John and I are just going to be watching on C-SPAN, because that seems to be the least annoying one with the least anchors. So yeah,
absolutely. But you know, what Dorina just mentioned, there's a lot to be covered here in this debate from Trump's side, from Biden's side as well. Are we going to get some new plans? Are we going to get some ideas about healthcare? How he's going to handle COVID? Are we going to hear more about foreign policy stuff? Are we going to hear more about the taxes situation between Trump and Biden, how much they paid, stuff about the military? There's a lot we're going to hear tonight, I think, from both sides. You know, there's going to be antics. You know, there's going to be craziness. And look, Dorina and I, we can barely handle it. So we had to get some help to help us out, to calm the nerves and to help us kind of look at this thing and analyze it knowledgeably and well. So we asked a few people to join us. And one of those people, we're going to introduce her now. She is a writer. She is an actress. She is a dancer. She is a creator. She is a producer. She does all these things, and she runs a studio at CNC. And she's also one of my favorite firebrand people on the planet. And that is Claudia Dolph. Welcome to the show, Claudia. How are you?
Hey, Mika.
Hi.
Already in debate mode. I love it.
I am so anxious about tonight. Well, you know, just the next month. You know, I'm a ball of anxiety in my stomach every single day.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. I want to, I guess, hear what Biden has to say. I think it's more of like, how is Trump going to shoot himself in the foot? Is he going to shoot himself in the foot? Is he going to show up? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But
yeah, that is something we debated off camera before we started here. Was will Trump just lock himself in the bathroom and not show up as a kind of way to mess with Joe Biden? But already his campaign, Claudia, today they were Trump was out there talking about how Biden needs to take drug tests and accusing Biden of being on Adderall tonight. We had Giuliani flipping out on Fox and Friends this morning saying Biden has dementia. And of all people to accuse other people of having dementia, Giuliani there talking about the 8 stages of dementia. You have Kayleigh McEnany, the press secretary for Trump, coming out saying, Biden initially agreed to have his earpiece inspected. Now he doesn't want to have his earpiece inspected. This is high school antics to try to throw Joe Biden off the game. They've seen the polls. He is ahead in overall nationally. So they're afraid if they're trying this kind of stuff. Do you think we'll see even more insane antics from Trump tonight?
Oh, probably. I mean, remember the last debates when he was following Hillary around the entire time like a Looney Tunes. But I mean, this is all projection. Like everything that they shout out to, and accuse the Democrats of doing, it's all stuff that they're doing every single time.
Well,
go ahead.
And Claudia, on that note, like, what do you think of? Because I know I've seen, me. I mean, I'm wearing a freaking Bernie shirt, right? Like, I
have my Biden Harris.
Yeah, because here's the thing. As much as I don't want to vote for Biden, I'm just doing it because I don't want to end up in an authoritarian government. Basically,
well, it's life or death. It's life or death.
So that's why I'm doing it. But I don't want to. So here's the thing. Like, you're not gonna, because since I've educated myself and I've studied history and I've studied what historians and economists and everybody's saying about what's going on. That's why I'm voting for Biden. It doesn't mean that I want to. However, other people still aren't. Other people still don't want to. And I understand why, because it's unfortunately, I feel like the DNC has been going after voters that are like either more to the right or more, or possibly maybe other Republicans will vote for us, but I haven't seen them do much to gain progressive votes. So do you am I wrong there? Do you feel the same way? Because I saw Joe Biden tweeted yesterday or 2 days ago after the tax story came out, and he said, "I'm not looking to punish anyone, but it's about time the super wealthy and corporate America start paying their fair share." Yeah. So I'm glad he's saying that, right? But he's also been responsible for setting, he's part of that group that's made it happen, where we have such a big, difference between now socioeconomic inequality, which has been like basically getting more and more unequal, and poor people, and middle, there's no middle class anymore, and we're paying all this money, and rich people aren't paying their fair share of taxes. So do you think Biden's actually going to do that?
I think that he can be pushed for sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is something that I think about quite a bit, being from Texas originally. I grew up in a very red state, a very red household. And, it bothered me that they invited Kasich to come into the DNC.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But, and speak. But it did work. It did change a lot of people's minds that I personally know. Mm-hmm. And so I do think it's important, but you're right. I certainly don't feel like they're going after the progressives, although I think that enough, but I do think that he can be pushed. Yeah.
Okay. I think so too. And, look, I mean, Kamala Harris is a strong choice for a reason. She's good. I know she's very strong on crime. She's had some questionable things in her past as an attorney general, but hey, if you're going to put a family behind jail, you got to have someone in the vice presidency that understands what's happening there. And maybe that's the move for them as well. I mean, he's going to go after Kamala in some veiled way. That's going to happen here. You're going to see that from them. And that's the unfortunate truth of the situation. But I mean, where do we see Trump breaking down? Where do we see Trump going into meltdown mode? Is it the taxes thing? Is it an attack on how he handled COVID? Is it on his foreign policy decisions? Is it Russia? Is it him being compromised? I just finished that 4-hour Agents of Chaos documentary on HBO over the weekend, which should scare the shit out of everybody. It is a great, concise exploration of how the Russian misinformation campaign from these Russian troll farms may have swung the election in 2016. He's been averse to hearing about it. So is that the trigger button that could get pushed or flipped by Biden that'll set Trump off?
Well, historically, the thing that's bothered him the most, right, is that if you go after his finances, if you say that he's not rich, if he's not a billionaire.
Great point.
That's the thing. Over the years, he has said in pre-interviews, don't talk about this, blah, 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 blah. So I think with that, if they bring up the tax stuff and they bring up how much he is in debt, I think that's his triggering point. With the COVID, he's going to say the same things. He's going to be like, well, at least I didn't kill 1 million people. At least I didn't, I think he's going to have the same sort of nonsensical, logic to those topics. But I do think if you go after his finances publicly,
he'll immediately melt down.
He'll melt down.
Yeah. Where do you see Biden getting tripped up, Dorina? Do you see Biden getting tripped up anywhere? I mean, like, he is old. He has misspoke at times. I love how Jill Biden shut it down with whoever she was being interviewed by. They mentioned Biden's gaffe, and she goes, "Are we talking about my husband? I mean, look at Donald Trump. Case closed." And so, pretty much shut it down. But do you see him stumbling? Do you see him kind of getting tripped up by Trump? Do you see any moment or anything that could send him into a bad place, as we saw with Al Gore with that lockbox situation that really sent him tumbling down when it looked like he would have the advantage? Do you see Biden having any minefields he has to walk through with Trump?
I love how Rocha, of course, now that we have a debate that we're watching, Rocha's treating it like sports.
It is a sport.
It's like the worst kind of fantasy football here. Is basically what's happening. But no, look, the thing about these people are all old, right? Like, when I'm old, I would not be running for president. I don't want to run for president ever. But I'm just saying, I would not be, if I was that age, I just want to live somewhere alone. I don't want to be I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't know why these people keep running for office. They should not be in office. They should retire. It's fucking stupid. But anyways, but my thing is I feel like it's not so much about Biden tripping over his words, because that's going to happen no matter what. I think that the problem is that with 4 years ago with Hillary, she already wasn't a well-liked candidate, right? Yes. And she also she's not that good. She was not that good at firing back. She was good at giving actual, statistics and facts, but Americans don't care about facts, though.
I will say that she was in a tough spot and trying to fight back.
Well, but you gotta be, but you also gotta be, you can't. When you're debating people that are constantly lying, you can't just act back. You should always act back with decency no matter what, but you have to be stern about shit, right? Like, you have to say, no, that's what you just said is a lie, and this is actually what's going on. I don't think most of these candidates are like that. I think Joe is he tries to be a decent person, right? So I don't know how much he's going to be firing back. That's more my problem. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Claudia, what do you think? Where will Joe trip up? Where might Joe, walk into a minefield or get unsettled? Is it his son, bringing up his son who's passed? Remember they had that video of Joe walking through the cemetery. They were claiming that he was lost, but he was actually paying respects to his son and his wife. So or his first wife rather. So do you see that being a sore subject for Biden and possibly unsettling him a little bit with Trump's antics?
I don't know if that will unsettle him. I think that occasionally he has had, he's a bit of a hothead sometimes, but I do think that they've been working with him on that to stay the course. I think if his sons come up, you're going to see an empathetic Biden again, which I think has been great, because I think that, he's really hammered in that family man that, his son served and passed away. Hunter's gone through his own thing. I don't know if you saw what his daughter tweeted the other day. It was really sweet. I'll send you the link for that. Just talking about all of the stuff, from losing his mom and his sister and then Bo and so on and so forth, and all of his struggles. So I don't know. I don't think that that'll trip him up. I think that he will seem more empathetic, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
That would be nice, just to have any sort of empathy. Here's the thing. I've never been a fan of any politician until someone like Bernie, but just having somebody be as a president, because any other Republican or Democratic president we've had recently has shown some form of human empathy. That's really important. True. It's important for not just adults, but kids to be watching a person that's actually treating other people with decency. And I miss that a lot. And I think that that's why these last 4 years have, other than all the other crap that's been going on that's horrible. It's like just hearing a person being constantly berating to other humans, berating the press, that's just not okay. Like I want that gone. So that's where he obviously wins, right? He does have empathy, as much as I disagree with some of Biden's policies, etc. Also, I really hope he doesn't play Despacito again.
Oh God.
Well, that he was
no.
He was brought onto stage.
No. No me gusta. No.
I love it. Well, just to let you all know, the debate is happening from Cleveland, Ohio. It's taking place at Case Western Reserve University. For those of you who just joined us live here, we've got over 220 of you all watching us live. Thank you so much. We've only got 104 likes, so please hit that like button. But we are going to be watching the C-SPAN feed on YouTube. I will be dipping out in about 6 minutes to go do another interview for a separate thing on the channel, and then jumping back in. But Claudia and Dorina will guide you through the first part of the debate before I get back in here and have some fun with them as well. We might be getting Winston Marshall coming in here in the next few minutes as well. But sure. And then later on, after the debate is over, we're going to watch the whole debate, and we'll get your Streamlabs and Super Chats in that time. We're going to do our after debate analysis and bring some of you all in live to answer your questions. If you're a $10 above patron on the Outlaw Nation Patreon, you will come in live and ask your question. If you donate $10 Streamlabs or above, you will have the option. You will get the link sent to you and have the option to come in live as well and ask your question there. So, or follow-up question, whatever you like. So we will have that going for that.
You crazy maniac with 4 shows at the same time.
It's my life, man.
Typical Rocha.
I tried to push one. They wouldn't do it. Adam Collins says, thanks for doing this stream tonight. Shout out to the awesome Claudia Dolph. Here's hoping you all your favorite drinks locked and loaded. Yeah. Claudia, do you have your drink?
I have some water right now.
All right, fair.
Well, look, I have water, but I am definitely going to be having some beer mezcal as soon as it starts.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I can do this sober, guys.
I haven't been able to, the last 4 years have not been sober. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
One last thing, and let's get into this real quick. We have a Trump who is on his heels, the tax stuff. Brad Parscale apparently was trying to grift $40 million and tried to kill himself the other night. They had to put him in the hospital for that. We have this other issue going on with Russia coming back into the fore now, more so like it was in 2016. Not at the level, but coming back in to the national conversation with some of their troll farm antics and what have you. We also have a president who is losing across the country in terms of the overall polls. That being said, vote. Don't listen to that shit. Vote. Is he the wounded animal here? Is if he plays the sympathy card against Biden, if for some reason he comes out and he's sympathetic and he's meek and he's respectful and clears the path for Joe Biden, will this trip up some of Joe Biden's tactics, or are we seeing a wounded animal here and he's going to lash out all over the place? What do you guys think?
I think the thing about Trump is that he is one of those people that he's just, since he was a kid, probably he's been lying about everything, right? True. So it doesn't matter what you ask him, he's always going to deflect and say, and no matter what is asked to him, and he's not the only one, like other politicians do this too. He just does this all the time, where he gets asked a question, answer this honestly, because we think you're either, a fraud or if, especially like basically what Claudia was saying, if they ask him about his finances, he's not going to answer. He's going to be like, I did pay taxes, but Hunter Biden, that's Trump's style constantly. It's always lie and deflect. That's what he does to all our press members as well.
Right.
He's a narcissist, like I don't think he knows how to be kind or sweet. I don't think, I don't think that that's in him. And I used to back in the day, I've never liked the man, but I used to feel sorry for him because he had horrible parents and all this stuff. And now he's not a good person. There's no defending him. He will lash out. I think that like the more he is wounded, he's going to lash out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like that's a lot of politicians do that. The difference is that not every politician is constantly lying about every single thing. Not every politician is living in our house because if they leave our house, they will basically go to jail.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
There's a huge difference between him and other politicians. So.
That's true. Well, someone who I wouldn't mind living in my house for sure is he's a writer, reviewer, pundit, host of the Inner Geekdom show happening on SCN Live. Also one of the co-hosts on Game Time, my sports show that I do here. And one of my favorite human beings on the planet. And you know, he ain't short of opinions either, but he ain't short of jokes and fun times as well. And that's my man here, Winston A. Marshall. Winston A. Marshall. How are you, man? Welcome, brother.
I'm chilling. I'm very upset. I have 2 more days before I'm allowed to drink because I feel like debate bingo is going to be on and popping tonight. So I am a little depressed about that, but it happens. I just really hope that because I'm sure you guys have already talked about the fact that I guess it was put out there that that the moderator is not allowed to ask Trump directly about his taxes. Like that was one of the stipulations about to do the debate. So it's up to Biden. If Biden wants to bring it up, that's not a deal that he made. It's just
so how do they get away with this?
He just made the threat. He's like, I won't show up. If you ask me that, he just said I won't do it. And if you ask it, I'll leave.
Okay, cool. Please leave forever. Yeah. Go to another country. Yeah.
Biden will have an hour and a half left to speak. Right?
Yeah, right. So I hope. So that's on Biden. Biden just has to be the one to pull that trigger.
All right.
Didn't know it's what the funny thing is, man, is because all this stuff is coming back from all these debates with Hillary, and she called all of this shit out.
4 years.
And seriously, and being like, you don't pay taxes, y'all. And he's like, no, that's a lie. I pay millions in taxes. I pay millions and millions in taxes.
He actually replied with, at some point, he did say, that makes me smart. Yeah. That's what he said. Yeah, smart.
I remember that.
Very smart. What's your problem? I paid all my taxes. Very smart.
But look, you guys know I am not a fan of the Clintons for a while. I only voted for her, again, because I didn't want Trump to win. I voted for Bernie in both primaries. But she was right. She was not wrong. The shit that came out recently, she was right. And I will admit that.
All right, I'm going to step out. I got to jump on to my interview here in about 4 minutes. So you all have a great time. I will be back in about 55 minutes to come back into the stream and have some fun with you all and enjoy it. Let's see what happens. Keep sending in your Streamlabs and Super Chats. We'll catch up to those when I get back, and we'll do all that. All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you in a little bit.
Have fun, Mijo.
Have fun.
Okay, guys. So we are 5:30. I don't even think this is going to start on time at 6. Is an issue. I feel like do you think Trump is going to? What if he doesn't show up?
God, that would be. He would do it for ratings.
I know that's it. Anyways. So Winston, how? And actually, this question is for Claudia as well. How have you guys? Have you guys always been paying attention to politics in general? Like, is this something that just came up as of recently, where you guys have been more involved? Are you doing anything to help with this election to get people out there to vote? Like, please tell us, like, what's, just your history in this, and then what are you doing right now to help people actually go vote?
Yeah. I have been involved in politics in one way or another since I was young. A lot of that having to do with my dad is massively into politics. He's from Guyana. He immigrated here from Guyana. His aim was to come to America to get his higher education and then to move back and to run for prime minister. And he ended up instead, he fell in love with business, so he stayed here, but he stayed engaged. So I grew up, whether I liked it or not, listening to NPR, both to and from school. Like, if I didn't get to the TV first, then he'd be putting on, CNN or whatever, and I'd have to watch all of that. So I've always been jacked into it one way or the other. As far as what I'm doing to help out this particular election, I was phone banking a lot for Elizabeth Warren when she was still in the race. I wasn't really into the whole idea of phone banking. Like, I was originally for Kamala before, and then she dropped out, so I was supporting Warren.
Sorry, so really quick, if you could choose the Democratic candidate, who would it be if it wasn't Biden?
If it wasn't, it would be Kamala, which is part of the reason why selecting her as the VP actually had me get a little more invigorated for him. I've not been excited for Biden at all.
Right.
Just for a number of reasons. One of them is that I do understand you look at a lot of her actual voting record as a senator and whatnot. And, you know, for the most part, she's kind of stayed on the left side of things and whatnot. There've been some questionable stuff here and there, but like people have to give her a bad rap for being, she was a cop.
She's a prosecutor.
Yeah, exactly. But if you go back and look at her record as a prosecutor, there are so many cases that were low level, like drug cases that she got thrown out because she's like, it's not worth the time. / let's not up these numbers. And she actually was one of the more progressive prosecutors in California. But again, she gets a bad rap because there were still a number of people with drug issues that ended up in prison and whatnot. So it's kind of here or there. I mean, I agree with a lot of the stuff that Warren and Sanders had to say about there's massive reform that needs to happen. But there's just something about Kamala, especially from the standpoint that if you're going to go up against Trump, who is the most loudmouth, like in your face, not going to hold back, you need someone that can go toe to toe. I don't necessarily know if Bernie's plans, as much as I enjoyed them, I don't know how much a majority of America would really get on board with it. And on top of that, I was concerned because even though he raised all that grassroots money, a lot of youth that were supporting him didn't show up at the primaries. And that's a problem. You need people that will go out and vote.
But how do you think the current candidate, right? How do you think I don't think they're doing a good job with young voters either.
I don't think they are either. And I'm terrified about that. And so my biggest concern is these debates will help, but it really, you have to hope. And it scares me to say that you have to hope that this tax stuff, that these COVID numbers, that this constant unrest that's been happening is enough for people to be like, we need to get him out and give it a shot on Biden. Is Biden ideal? No. But the one thing that my dad called out and was upset about with Hillary losing, there's a lot of people that decided they wanted to stand on their principles. And my dad was like, what scares me when you know that the situation that you're in, it really is one or the other, that you are willing to sacrifice the good for the perfect.
Right.
And so there was a point in time where, yes, Hillary is not the person that's up there, but there was a point that then Hillary was up there. And then it really came down to, well, which camp are you going to go in? There's nothing, you can't not have a president. So It's one of these two.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about the greater reform about this two-party system and all that, I'm all about that. We can, blow that up and start over. I'm okay with that. But you also have to realize at some point, if the building is burning, you either stay and wait for the building to finish burning and you die in it, or you try and jump and land in a tree and hope you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Look, we're currently dealing with how many judges these people have appointed. That is not. It's interesting that people keep. Well, we have them calling Biden a socialist, which is hilarious. I'm like, I wish. He's definitely not. I was like, Kamala's definitely not Antifa. But we've had guests on our show on Impolite Truths with John from Canada that agree with me that someone like Bernie Sanders is a moderate in other countries, right? Yeah. So these justices that they've been appointing are regressing our nation. They're not helping us. They're not helping progress, right? And so that's why it's important. It's not just the fact that my thing is like, I don't want people to just vote for president. Like people need to be voting locally. You got to be making sure, like your senators, your congresspeople, your local
councilmen,
city councilmen.
That's all of that is important. And don't get me wrong. There's a reason why they call the president of the United States the leader of the free world, like probably the most powerful position in the world, etc. But this country isn't run just by the president. That's not how that works. So you need to go and make sure that we can flip the Senate, that we can maintain the House, that whatever it is that you believe in, that you're actually voting for all of it and not getting caught up in the hype and the hoopla of just one position. That's not enough, because there are people that, for example, like I am very anti Alex Villanueva and
of course,
Lacey.
Yes.
Lacey, and like both of them got to go.
And Garcetti. Garcetti. How do we get rid of him?
I don't know. I don't know if he's up right now.
No, he's not. I don't think he is.
But Lacey got to go, bro. She is the worst.
Yeah, agreed.
She is the absolute worst. But that's the problem. People don't dive in enough about this, so they just kind of see the surface stuff, which is president. Stuff like that. And they're just like, it's either this or that, and don't bother with everything else. And that's troubling.
Well, and that's Claudia. I want to ask you to, because the thing I've noticed is that people just aren't informed as to how our government works, right?
Yeah.
Like people don't really know what the House is, right? Like how Congress works. Like people just seem to blame it on like one side and other people. I'm like, I want someone like Nancy Pelosi out, right?
How to put a bill through? They just think that what's his name signs executive orders and then that's it.
Yeah. So what would you say to that, and what are you doing, or what have you done to either educate yourself or to help with what's going on?
Well, that's such a huge question, because it really does go back to us not having enough funding in our education, and that goes back years and years and years, and just not being told the correct things, like civics classes and social studies and things like that. Currently, what I'm doing, I've got postcards that I'm going through right now. So I'm sending out postcards. I've done some text banking for Powered by the People, Beto O'Rourke, and like really focusing on Texas because that's where I'm from.
Hey, what part?
Dallas. We met once. We talked about it.
We talked about this. I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I've always been very engaged in politics. I couldn't wait to vote when I turned 18, and then it just becomes more and more important, right? Especially somebody who's Mexican, who's a woman. And it's not, and I was going to say also, it's not just the Supreme Court. Nobody's even talking about all the judges that Mitch McConnell has put through and the lower courts. I mean, it's something, 200 and something. And that's scary.
Yeah.
He's probably the scariest person in politics, because how much has he just had a vice grip on this?
Yes.
And nobody has paid attention to him to like really push to get him out. And I can't even remember who he's specifically running against right now, but
I think it's Amy McGrath, no?
Yeah. He kind of sucks too.
Yeah, she does.
That's the thing. And so it's like, on the one hand, if at the very least, like she could get it, you would hope, then maybe she's not worse. But I don't even think that she's not trending up right now against him. It looks like he'll retain his seat, which is still just crappy.
What do you guys think is like, other than the presidential candidates, like what do you guys think right now is the most pressing issue? Like if you had a chance to actually be Chris Wallace, like what would be the main thing that you would want people talking about tonight?
Well, here's a big thing that they're not going to be talking about: climate change.
Right.
Yep.
Like that's not one of his topics tonight, which I think it's just the most insane thing to me. It is the most insane thing.
The fact that at the end of September, I have been running my AC since 8:30 this morning.
Right.
And I will only be turning it off because I'm going to be leaving to go watch the debate at my girlfriend's place, but we'll have to keep it on through most of the night and let it auto shut off at like 1 a.m. because of how hot it is right now in Los Angeles, which is supposed to be the 75 no matter what. That in itself is proof that the climate is changing and we are having an effect on it. This is not normal. And that's my problem with having two old white men being the two candidates we have to choose from. They're not going to be here much longer. They both probably got at most 2 decades. That's about it. The rest of us have to live with this planet. And so like for them not to make that a priority is crazy, and in my opinion, very selfish. But
agreed. And also, before I want to hear your what you have to say too, Claudia. But for me, it's a very basic thing of both parties right now are problematic to me, right? Like I want the DNC to change as well, right? Like there's Justice Democrats that's putting in more working class citizens, and they're actually winning elections, right? Like Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, obviously AOC, like people like that are actually people like us that have been living paycheck to paycheck and that know how frustrating it is. And they're not like politicians that basically get their money from corporate donors, right? The problem is that the way our world works right now, especially our country, is that all of these corporations are actually contributing to climate change, right? Like but since they're connected and they're putting their money in politicians' pockets, then that's not convenient for them. And that's so fucking selfish, because these politicians, exactly what you said, Winston, they're not going to live as long as us, right? Like my nieces, those are the people, teenagers right now are the people that are like, hey, our planet is dying and you guys keep breaking it more and we don't want you there. So why would people vote for any of them, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean,
sorry. So Really quick though. So as far as I know, like, does Biden have some form of plan? Like, I read it on his website that he does. It's not the Green New Deal, but it's something, right? So let's talk about that.
I think that he can be pushed to the Green New Deal, quite honestly.
Okay.
I think that can happen. The other hand is that, on the other side of that, we have Trump, who has taken away like every single policy that anybody put in place to protect our planet and to protect water. And so I really do think that, when it comes down to it, if that's something that's important to you, you have to get out and vote for Biden, because the other choice, I mean, we don't have 4 more years.
Right.
We don't have 4 more years to deal with whatever Trump is going to, do.
I mean, and by 4 more years, I don't think you mean just the fact that our planet is going to break more, but our country is going to break more, right? Like our democracy is at, like, it's interesting to hear people think that that's hyperbole sometimes, but I believe, and there's evidence so far, that they're a threat to our democracy. Like, the DOJ right now is already not working properly. There's several federal institutions that are not working properly.
Right. Well, I mean, I think we're moving in the right direction for sure. Obviously it's, I would prefer it to happen quicker. But I think with, like the people that you mentioned, them being an example, and just change, like, we're evolving, like, whether we like it or not, like, this country is evolving. And does it need to look like it did before? Absolutely not. And if it's going to start changing, I mean, we just have to survive this election. Like, honestly, it's just about surviving this moment.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, and I've seen in the chat, MK Songberger has brought it up a couple times. The truth is, the reason why our stuff gets so out of hand is because so much money is genuinely involved in politics.
Mm-hmm.
You can bend a politician to whatever whim that you want. It's one of the reasons why I was super about Cory Booker before this election, just in general, until I saw him vote on that pharmaceutical bill a few years back.
Yep.
And then I was like, bro, you were the chosen one.
Yep.
We believed in you. And, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Which is why, really quick, boys and girls, you should be following the money, because politicians will tell you what you want to hear, but you should be following what they actually vote for.
1,000%. And it's one of those things that's incredibly sad. If you literally thought about it and you were like, look, if they put a actual cap on the amount of money you were allowed to spend on a campaign and all that kind of stuff, you can figure out a way that the country will cover your travel to wherever, like, that's fine. We'll cover your travel to whatever state you need to go to, as long as it's not excessive. If you need to go speak in Michigan or down in Carolina or whatever, but then the amount of money you can run for these ads and these blitzkriegs and everything else, if you set it at a solid cap, you would have a situation where people would have to be. I forgot if I could swear on here. I know I've done it like 5 times.
Oh, of course you can, Winston. You can. Any show you're on with me, you can swear. Fair.
You would have to be fucking real. You wouldn't be just saying that, like, the reason why would you stop fracking? And then that's not what's important. What's important is no. Answer the fucking question. And you would answer it, and you would genuinely do it if you weren't beholden to people that were throwing millions of dollars at you for your campaigns. That's ultimately what this comes down to. And it's why a lot of the governments that we see around the world that do have those caps have a tendency to put in probably the best person for their country, because they're not being manipulated by somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's that too.
No, yeah. And here's the thing, like, that's why it's important. I think it's really easy to get, especially nowadays, to get discouraged to just vote, right? To be out there helping the good fight, because there's so much BS around it, right? Like, there's so much, like you said, we have to get money out of politics. But what do you think right now is actually going to happen? Like, if you actually could, like not what you want to happen, but what do you think is going to happen come November 4th?
Do you want my actual answer?
Well, yeah, of course.
Honestly, I'm getting the same gut feeling I got. So when 2016 happened, the day before the election, my roommate and I had to move. And so we finished moving. It was like 11 something at night. And we put down the couch, and I looked at him and I was like, bro, I think she's going to lose. And he's like, why would you say that? And I was like, call it a gut feeling. I mean, How do you call Mexicans rapists, make fun of a disabled reporter, say you grab women by the pussy, do all of that, and yet somehow they're still fixated on her emails, and he somehow didn't automatically get knocked out of the race for being immoral? I have a gut feeling that this is not going to go the way that people think it is. I think she's going to lose. And then lo and behold, a lot of people I knew the day of were in tears, and I was pretty just like dead. I just didn't feel it. I felt it the next day. I had a panic attack in a store because I felt like I was dealing with some racist white people. But I'm getting that same gut feeling because the thing is, I saw what happened with Barack. Why he was so successful is people were excited to support him. I don't feel that same energy of people being excited to support Biden. They're doing it because they feel like they have to, and that's not enough. The people that voted for Trump were actually excited to vote for that asshole. So like, that's the problem, is that there has been no like collective, like, hell, Biden's the answer. Like, let's go. Like, we've been fighting amongst what our candidates were going to be. There were 22 Democrats involved. Like, we were fighting over that for forever. This is what we were kind of left with. I hoped that Kamala being involved would bring some of that energy back. And it did bring, I feel, a little bit from the Black community. But you also had the Black community that, again, is like, she's a cop. I don't trust her. Yeah. So, like, I have a bad feeling in my stomach because why are we already off his taxes? It's been 24 hours and most news cycles have moved off of that already.
And that's thanks to just the way, unfortunately, our media works, right? Like they focus on what's clickbaity. There's also, unfortunately, so much propaganda out there. And now with the internet and social media, it's much easier to propagate, which is why I constantly beg people to please check sources, don't just watch your news on one dude's YouTube channel that wears a beanie and he's a grifter. Like, just don't watch, like, actually read several sources, follow different types of journalists. Just don't like, if you're looking at Breitbart, if you're looking at The Blaze, that's literally propaganda. Like Project Veritas, like all of those things are specifically meant to propagate just misinformation. So please be careful with that. Go ahead, Winston.
I was going to say the last thing I'd say about my gut feeling is that what also scares me, and because I saw a lot of this in 2016, I have a number of friends who are very intelligent, who are very involved in politics and whatnot, that have openly said, I'm going to go vote, but I'm not going to vote for president. I'm just going to stay out of it. And that by itself, knowing that people are still thinking about doing that shit, I just don't, I'm scared shitless.
Well, and that's really sad to me because I feel the same way, Winston. Like, I have friends as well that, they didn't want to vote and that they wanted to, or they just felt disillusion. But I think there's people that are basically, I think just being proud and selfish, because this does affect, like, if the ICE forced hysterectomy story doesn't crush your heart, I don't know what else will, right? So if that doesn't make you want to vote and save what these people are going through, this horrible, inhumane circumstances, I don't know what will. Right. Yeah. And so, but then again, there's also people out there that have been struggling their whole lives. Right. Like, there's people that are in the marginalized community that have been struggling since before Trump. So I also don't know how a Biden campaign is going to excite those people. Right. So that's where Democrats have to work harder than they are. So, Claudia, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I just don't know. I have no idea. Either way, I don't think that it's going to be a peaceful transfer of power. I think there's going to be a lot of, if he loses, there's going to be a whole shitstorm around that. The same thing happened with me 4 years ago. My next door neighbor became a citizen, like literally the day before we were all going to go vote. Mm-hmm. So like, I brought her a Budweiser and we were going to go, like, cause she's an American now. And we were all going to go vote together. And she's from Germany originally. And she was like, there's no way he's going to win. And I was like, don't say that. Don't say that. And then, like the end of the night, bawling tears. Because it's scary. It's really scary. This time around, I don't know. I have, I'm just being an optimist, but like I've participated in a few fundraiser Zoom fun things or whatever. I've, with the text banking, it's very... it's kind of a great community, and I don't know, like I'm not feeling, I don't know, maybe I'm just being, disillusioned or whatever. But I have a little bit of hope. It brings me joy to see all the early voting that was happening in Virginia, like people around the block, stuff like that. So I don't know.
I honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. I do know that people are rightfully angry because this year, most people, have been affected by what's going on, right? Everyone. Like, I feel like if the pandemic had not happened, I think Trump would get reelected immediately. Yeah, but I think the pandemic actually, since it exacerbated so many of these socioeconomic issues that we've been having, systemic issues from before Trump, it exacerbated all that. And then on top of that, I think the Trump and his cronies didn't realize this was going to happen, so they got caught easier, if that makes sense. So, and I know that the hardcore like QAnon or cultist supporters, I don't think that we're going to get those people to change their mind, unfortunately, because I think that they've just been misinformed and brainwashed for so long. But there are conservatives out there that I think are finally realizing that this guy is a fraud, right? Like, I think that they were perhaps happy that, okay, at least we're getting the justices that we want, right? Like maybe that's what they were happy about. But I think what I'm hoping is I am seeing people change their minds that actually did vote for him in 2016. And now that they've realized, never mind, I don't want this guy here anymore. I don't like what he's doing to our democracy. I don't like what he's doing to our country. So really quick, since you guys are sending super chats and Streamlabs for us, thank you. Streamlabs.com/Impolite Truths. Derek here says, first time, long time, sending love from MS. What is that? Is that Missouri, Mississippi? You Americans, you know what that is.
Yeah, I thought that was Missouri, but it could be wrong. It's Mississippi. It's Mississippi.
My question, at what point do we hold people, not just politicians, for beliefs and voting that degrades and destroys POC communities? I want to believe they're just ignorant, but I don't know anymore.
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
The question is, at what point do we hold people, not just politicians, for their beliefs and voting that degrades and destroys people of color and their communities?
I mean, that's hard to say, only in the sense that like I'm exhausted. Like I'm really, really tired. I think it's one of those things that at this point, everybody, I just have a little bit on notice and I'm just kind of watching.
Right.
And the other thing that I try and get to the root of, and I'll question before I immediately fly off the handle, which I see a bunch of people do, and I understand why. You're tired, you're angry, it happens.
Right.
I kind of will ask the appropriate questions to figure out where this is coming from. Is this coming from out of a place of ignorance? Is this coming out of a place of like some sort of brainwashing? Yeah. Or is there a way to potentially save you as far as like, let me explain what my experience is and what my people's experience is, and are you going to actually hear me out? Or are you going to double down? And that's kind of where this comes down to. The simple fact that like I have people close to me whose relatives have been very pro-Trump and have been very anti-Colin Kaepernick, anti-Black Lives Matter, anything, whatever. And then they heard the story about me getting, 6 officers pulling guns on me at a dodgeball tournament, even though I had nothing to do with the person that they were actually looking for. They just, the first black dude, because they heard it was a black dude that was causing issues. I had not left that gym in 8 hours, but they confused me with some other dude that looked nothing like me. We were just black. That's it. I know a number of people that were very staunch that were like, well, then maybe this is a problem. And sometimes that's what it takes, is it takes a personal touch for people to get that. So that's where I like to sit and have conversations. And I've seen a bunch of people in the chat also saying that, like, why don't I come with facts? Well, I came on last minute because Dorina asked me to. So had I taken the time, sure, I would have brought you all the numbers you want. Like I said, I watch the shit all the time. Like I'm involved in this all the time. But like, that's the thing. Based off of the numbers that I've seen, based upon the enthusiasm that I've seen, and for a lot of people that are here, I know people from around the country and around the world are watching. But there's a bubble in Los Angeles where people in LA think that it's fine, we're going to finally get past it, whatever. I'm very aware, being from Texas, and Claudia, I'm sure you can back me up on this. There are some good people in Texas that are probably like, yeah, this is enough. I know a lot that do not. And they're like, I'm tired of having to stay home. Fuck this mask. He done everything where y'all were giving him shit and you just let them burn built. Like, I've seen so much pushback on people just saying, please just hear me out. Like, my life is on the line. Like, my aunt is getting forced hysterectomies. Like, my cousin got shot by the cops because he had a loosie. Like, and for those that are like a loose cigarette, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of shit that you bring that evidence to them and they don't give a fuck. That is why my gut is telling me I don't feel good about this. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong here, but that's where I don't know at this point, other than to keep preaching and to just speak my truth. That's all I can think of at this point.
Yeah, and I've talked about this with Dorina also. You know, like a couple of people that I've grown up with, and you know, that voted one way, you know, back in the day, or their entire lives, you know, are now voting for the opposite because they're not dumb people; they're smart people, and even though they are more conservative leaning than I am, they understand that what Trump is not for our country. He's not, you know, doesn't think about anything else but his brand. That's it. And I think people are starting to realize that. And it is performative as it is for things like, you know, the NFL to have everybody's, you know, helmets represent somebody's name, like Trayvon Martin or whatever. I think that's important for people to see so they understand that what they thought maybe a couple of years ago, peacefully protesting the Colin Kaepernick stuff, that's not what it is. It's not against the flag. It's not against our you know, military, anything like that. They're protesting in a peaceful way, systematic racism and Black people being killed. And hopefully things like that, as much as we know it's PR stuff, will make a difference with these people. And they can, I don't know, maybe because they're just watching certain channels and they're only getting their information from Fox or you know, whatever. And so it's really hard, I think, for you to be open-minded when it's so focused. So it's so linear.
Well, and I just think it's also the way that we are programmed as humans to think, right? Like, we're not in this country, like, people in power. I think the reason why we haven't had enough budgets in our schools is because they don't want a critical thinking population, right? And that's a big issue. That's why I'm literally like, that's why I'm wearing this shirt. Like, what's important for any country to survive is education, healthcare, right? Like that's where any of our budget money should be spent, not in the military, right? Like, we don't need to give cops shields with tasers, right? Like that's not where the money should be going, right? So but the way we change that is by continuing to push anybody that's in office to remind them that they work for us and it's not about enriching themselves, and that they have to do what we, the people, actually want to live in a country that is for everyone, that is equal for all, not just for a few. So
and that's my whole thing. I was one of those people that, even though I didn't feel like it would happen, knowing that once Trump was in office, that we were going to at least have to deal with him for 4 years, I wanted to be wrong. I wanted him to come in and be like, cool, prison reform. And you know what? Here's actually more rights for the LGBTQ community. And like, I want to appoint more women to stuff, all that. I was hoping I was going to be wrong.
Right.
The thing is, a broken clock is right twice a day. So, you know, he did have a few things with Kim Kardashian and Kanye where he did get some Black people released from prison. You had stuff like that. There was another thing that he did recently that is slipping my mind. But to know that ICE on his watch, again, the hysterectomies is a massive one. That you can't dodge that. The fact that he hasn't paid his taxes like that, all of us would benefit so much to not have to do that, especially those of us that are working these jobs to just try and get by.
Right.
To even have that extra couple $100 back, that extra few thousand on the year, whatever, would be life-changing. And if he's a billionaire, he doesn't need it. So like, it's one of those things where it's like, if there was substantial proof that showed me that he would step up and do the things that need to be done to genuinely help as many Americans as possible, and not what looks like it's just him and his ilk, the people directly around him, not even his supporters, the people directly around him.
Mm-hmm.
If I felt that there had been substantial proof, then that would be a situation where you might convince me otherwise. But I've literally seen nothing but executive order after executive order after law that is only taking things away from people. Mm-hmm. That's it. And that's why I can't, like, I just can't.
Yeah. And again, how we consume media matters, right? Is people are just reading a headline that says, oh, Trump was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, or oh, he did this, we're like about pre-existing conditions, but they actually read what happened. Like if they actually read the article and they inform and we inform ourselves into what these people are actually doing in Congress, like that's when it's just the fancy looking headline isn't actually what's happening, right? So it's important, you guys, to stay educated. It is 6 p.m. Do you think this is starting on time?
Yeah, Chris Wallace is out there. They're all seated.
Okay, quick question that's not actually a real question, but who of the Trump kids do you think is on cocaine? I'm kidding. So, guys.
All of them?
All of them.
That's silly.
Oh, man. So how long do we have you guys for until Rocha comes back?
30 more minutes for me.
What about you, Winston? You still good to hang, or you gotta go soon?
I have to bounce. So I'm sorry I could only stay for a little bit. But you guys do it. You and Rocha put on a killer show, and I appreciate the fact that it sounds like we're all on the same page, that we're not the biggest fans of Trump and looking for him to not be in office anymore. But what I do appreciate that the two of you do with the show, you genuinely do keep this very level. You both obviously have your feelings. And that's the funny thing. I was actually raised Republican just based off my dad.
Me too.
He himself as well, around midway through Bush's, like my dad voted for Gore, but through Bush's terms, it was just one of those things that it all, for really the whole family, we flipped, and it's kind of been over on the left. Mm-hmm. So I have nothing wrong, and like that's the other thing. I have nothing wrong with any right-leaning policies. There's a lot that like I agree with here and there, but
right.
I'm a bigger advocate of taking care of people. Mm-hmm. And the more I see people try and do the opposite of that, I'm gonna be loud about it. That's just who I am. So.
Yeah. Well, that's why you're awesome, Winston. Thank you for your words. Obviously, we're actually going to start having guests on our show now, so we would love for you to come back. I think you're one of the coolest, smartest people I know, and we'd love to have your voice back on this crazy show that we just started that hopefully helps to educate people out there. We're still educating ourselves as well. The whole point here is that we are trying to be honest with people, because there's so much misinformation and actual lies in the news out there. So we appreciate your time. Winston, where can people find you? Anything you want to plug before you take off?
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred, TheSwaggyBlerd. That's on all the socials. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Blurred to Hoods on Tuesdays and Thursdays. All right, love you guys.
Thank you, Mijo. Love you. Winston Marshall, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to follow him if you aren't. He is awesome. You knew him already, right, Claudia? You have met
before.
Okay. Before.
Yeah, one of the showdown things, whatever. But yeah. Talked about our Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, well, you too. One of my favorite people. Thank you, Winston. And thank you out there. We have about a little over 300 people watching right now. The debate, I think, is about to start. Chris Wallace seems to have just sat on his seat. Yeah. So I have my beer. I got my Dos Equis ready. I'm switching from water to alcohol now because I don't think I can get through this hour and a half without it. What about you, Claudia?
I was just checking to see if I had any edibles left. But
thankfully, California is legal. It should be federally legal, though. And to everybody out there, I know I've missed a couple of super chats, so I'm going to read those now. I see some Streamlabs coming in. Thank you again, guys, for supporting the show. Again, the new show, Rocha and I are giving our time whenever we can. We're not making a crap ton of money out here. We're just trying to do this for the good of the community. So thank you, Claudia, for hanging out with us. And if you guys have any more questions or comments during the stream, you can go to streamlabs.com/impolite truths. You can super chat us, and then Rocha will be back in about 20 to 30 minutes because he has like 3 jobs, because that's what happens with him. I have a super chat here that I see from Elise Johnson, who's saying, loving this discussion. And Dorina, where did you get your shirt? I need it. My shirt is actually from the Bernie campaign. I went canvassing for Bernie in March, I believe, or in February, actually, before the primaries. And I got this shirt there. I don't think it should offend anybody. It's just saying that everybody should have the right to healthcare and education. It's one of the least political, least what's called controversial political shirts I have. So
especially now, I really hope that it shines a light on how broken the healthcare system is in this country.
Yeah.
For everyone. I think maybe it's not quite as noticeable when it doesn't affect everybody equally, but this pandemic has definitely done some different things, you know.
Yeah, it's showing literally how broken our system is. Like it's and it's not fair that how many people have lost their jobs because our jobs are dependent on our healthcare is dependent on our jobs. Then there's a bunch of people that don't have healthcare right now. So people are having to.
Correct.
Nobody should be paying for COVID treatment. Nobody should be paying for a vaccine. All of these things should be a right. Like that's what I'm hoping that we can change. And I definitely not going to happen with Trump. Hopefully, it happens with Biden.
Yeah.
So.
At least keep us from going into a deeper hole.
It is really weird though. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a debate where I'm like, yeah, I'm rooting for this guy. I'm just like, oh, let's see what happens because like I'm just voting for the least shitty one, but that's it. Okay, guys. So if you are tuning in just now, the debate has started. Chris Wallace is doing his introduction. So we're just going to be hanging out here, watching it, letting the candidates speak, and then maybe obviously make some jokes. Hopefully won't get too drunk and made some bad inappropriate jokes. So we recommend as Ambling Soul there, our nice moderator there is saying the debate is starting. We recommend opening you to another tab, maybe C-SPAN. That's what I'm doing. I'm literally just have, is that how you're watching too, Claudia?
Yeah.
Chris Wallace just said to not cheer or boo, which I am going to still do that. Mostly boo.
That's all Trump's rallies know how to do. That's what they're used to.
That's so weird, man.
Oh,
okay. God. Okay, it's starting, you guys. Oh my God. And then that's the worst. The other really bad part is that these are just like two old dudes that like are, whenever they try to be cool, they can't be. They should not do that.
Right.
Trump looks pissed.
Supreme Court right away.
This Amy Barrett chick, I would love to interview her and just be like, are you aware that you were raised to hate women? Like,
are you okay?
I know I feel bad for her. Dude, I went to Catholic church every Sunday. I was told I was less than a man every Sunday. It's pretty dumb.
Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, my parents would take me to these like conventions where they teach you about how to be a good Christian woman. Biden looks so white next to Trump's orange.
Is he sedated?
Yeah, they were like, take it easy with the Adderall today. It's just like everything he says, you're just like,
it's already so boring.
What? What is he talking about? What is he talking about?
That was such a weird reply.
It just made no sense.
It is crazy how hypocritical.
Oh, it's just insane.
It's like, but it's literally like the same exact quote that they shot at McConnell about not. It's like, oh no, we can't do. McConnell literally said, no, we can't have Merrick Garland because, in fact, didn't we have 8 justices in 2016?
Yeah, for 10 months.
Hypocrites.
Yeah, that's the scary thing, is that the ACA comes up.
Yeah, man, as much as Obamacare has been criticized, a lot of people don't have healthcare right now, and they're only gonna have less of it if this happens. And people have already started voting too. That's a good point. I mean, this is why young voters don't vote either. Like, they don't want to watch this.
Also, I think it's strange that
Drink. I'm gonna drink.
Yeah, because
deflect, man. See, like, he's focusing on. He's like, but I have the right to do it because I'm president. He's like, okay, but what about all the people that are gonna lose their healthcare? Deflecting, baby.
Yep. Again with a socialist, hilarious. Also, he's Catholic. Biden is a Catholic, and so this narrative that Republicans were throwing out there that we didn't like, his nominee because of her faith, it's not true.
So weird. Joe's focusing on Obamacare still.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna. If we drank every time we say socialist, though, we're gonna pass.
We'll be wasted.
Yeah.
It's really funny to like hear Trump say socialist over and over again when he's living in our house for free and he's stealing our money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
That's the thing that people need to focus on. Like, we literally wouldn't it's too many people died for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm having to call someone with condolences every week right now.
Every week.
This is not a normal thing. And it's not happening in other developed countries. That's what people don't seem to understand. And there's still no federal plan for handling the pandemic.
Which is nuts. Oh, see, what did I say? He was just going to bring up
China.
That he didn't kill 2 million people.
Chris just had to dad them.
Oh my God.
He's not even letting him talk. It's so embarrassing.
Isn't
Joe doesn't even know what to. He's like, he's not letting me talk. Do something, Chris.
and every time he interrupts, it makes no sense. So it's like, how do you even, form a rebuttal?
So embarrassing. Got a super chat here from Mukbang Reviews. Dorina, I agree with your shirt 100%. Expand the K-12 public school to 4 years of college. As long as you make the grades, you deserve a free, cheap education. Yes, Mukbang.
Nobody should be paying off their college education well into their 40s.
Like if I was paying my student loan debt right now, I'd be pissed that not just Trump, but a bunch of rich people aren't paying their taxes. That's so unfair.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
is so embarrassing.
He doesn't know how debates work.
This is so embarrassing. I'm glad I'm drinking beer.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris. Everybody's against me. Wah.
Yeah.
The press is all against me because they keep doing their job and reporting on all my lies. Wah.
You keep asking me questions like you're a moderator. He loves to talk about insulin. It's like somebody told him, talk about insulin, and like it just hasn't left.
He never answers the question, too. He always deflects.
Goodness.
If I was Chris West, I'd be like, look, I'm the moderator. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Oh my God. Shut up.
We could just have Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Everybody could just have healthcare.
Sure, be more racist. Just can someone call him out for that?
It's already a mess, and we're 20 minutes in.
You're the lawyer. What? Did you hear that?
Maybe they should have just gotten a muzzle for Trump so the debate could actually happen. So
Right.
when he's not supposed to speak, he could let the other guy speak.
Yeah, keep saying that because guess who that's going to encourage? Younger people. He's so in with Bernie then. my God.
Derek Martin, exactly. I hear you. He just said, what is going on? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
Well, you can't prep Trump for debate. He can't retain that. He doesn't have the facts. He doesn't have the knowledge. So this is what he's going to do.
Yeah. Just interrupt constantly.
Yeah. He's a bully. You know,
yeah.
that's all.
Yep, exactly. Biden's being dumb too, though. It's not like Biden's being great at this. It's just that Chris Wallace should just yell loud noises.
Yeah. Well, what's your plan, dude? What's your plan?
Okay, so then what's your pandemic plan, buddy?
Yeah.
You keep talking about Obamacare. What are you doing to help people right now with the pandemic? Why don't you talk about that?
Well, what is it then? What's cheaper and better then?
This is so embarrassing.
Well, you know, like, do you see him? Like he's bouncing around like a little, like he's throwing a tantrum.
Well, because he doesn't want to be there. Biden's right that he doesn't have a plan.
They don't. They never have a plan. They want to repeal it, but they have nothing to replace it with.
Yeah, that's why the RNC has zero platform. Their platform is just vote again for this guy. That's it. Yeah. They don't have any healthcare plan. They don't have a climate change plan. They don't have any of these. No. If somebody wants to send them to me, that'd be great. But I put them in the chat. But I have not seen a plan or an RNC platform at all.
Well, they said it was supposed to come out in a couple weeks ago. Look, now he's projecting. Are you going to stack the court? Are you going to stack the court? That's what he's trying to do. That's what they're doing.
So now Joe is deflecting, right?
We're all feeling that.
USA! USA!
That's me every day. Will you just shut up, man?
To the 275 people watching with us, thank you. I know this is quite the ride already. We appreciate you sending our streamlabs.com/impolite truths for any of your questions or comments, or super chat as well.
Yeah.
And they're still dying, and there's more that are going to die because there's no plan.
Yep. Oh, come on. I don't like this question. It's ridiculous. I mean, hopefully.
Good luck.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh.
Joe's not wrong.
No, he actually was presented with a briefing of a potential pandemic back in November, almost a year ago.
And I believe, Claudia, you might know this, the Trump administration actually got rid of the pandemic response that the Obama administration had, correct?
Yes.
Because also last week on our show with John, I mentioned that a bunch of the money that Congress had apparently had set for pandemic response, for masks, for like PPE and all that stuff, was funneled to the Pentagon.
Yeah. Yeah. So AOC is right. You know, whenever you come up with anything having to do with like healthcare or education or whatever, and they're like, well, how are we going to fund that? What are you talking about? We're funneling all our money to the Pentagon, to the military. Like,
yeah,
give me a break.
It's like, why would I want to pay my taxes if that's what's happening?
Right. He wasn't the president.
$1,200 some people got. That's it. This whole year, after a bunch of people are losing their jobs, being furloughed, and dying.
Losing their homes.
Exactly.
He's an idiot.
What is that, dude? How like much empathy do you lack that you're like, well, people died in other places too, so they're just gonna keep dying here, and it doesn't matter to me because I have no plan. He probably also owes China money.
Yeah, 100%.
When did Dr. Fauci say that?
No, he likes to make things up. He likes to put words in people's mouths. We didn't.
No, nobody said that.
No.
I can't believe Trump has just been doing this his whole life.
His whole life, yeah.
Just lying constantly. It's like, no, that's not what happened. This is what this guy said about me. That's why you should believe me, because this other guy you don't know said this.
The thing that he's been doing since day one is attacking the press, saying they're fake news. Just for this moment.
Yeah, berating the press for doing their job and holding our politicians accountable, which is what they should be doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he just say he didn't do well with the swine flu?
He just told Biden he didn't do well with the swine flu, with H1N1. Yeah. It's like, well, you know how many Zoom memorials I've been to this year?
Yep.
Can't even mourn in public, together in public.
And it's affecting marginalized communities the most. That's what's so horrible about it.
Yeah. Correct. Yes.
I'm not going to put on a Trump vaccine. It's like I saw 28 days later, man.
Yeah.
What a shit show. Mukbang Reviews, thanks for your super chat. You're saying you nailed it. This is embarrassing. LOL. Trump is a disgrace, has no plans, and can't hold a coherent conversation. It's a goddamn shame.
These are what their meetings are like every day. Their briefings. Could you imagine? That's why the people around him get sick and what's political about doing the proper trials and research and
deflecting. He was just straight up asked, you said this, but like Fauci said this. He's like, no. Like he just never answer. Has he answered any questions?
No. He keeps putting the blame on everybody else.
Well, because he doesn't take responsibility for anything. He already said it.
Yeah, because he's a narcissist. Everyone's against him.
You can't have a person that lacks empathy be the leader of a country that's trying to take care of its citizens.
Right. What does the military have to do with this? What?
Joe's got a point there.
Oh, was it, dude? Because it didn't seem sarcastic when I watched you say it. Yeah.
Commentating nerd made a comment here that makes me think if they just let Trump just talk, he would just dig himself deeper in a hole.
Yeah. No, you can't trust him. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could talk about just the CDC and how Caputo and who used to work for, who basically was a Putin guy, literally was a Putin employee. Yeah. He's spokesperson for our health organizations. How are people supposed to trust that? And they literally found evidence that they manipulated information to go out to the public about the pandemic. So clearly that's
like flipping,
Yeah.
What? What is he talking about? What is he talking about?
I don't know.
What does it have to do with anything?
What? We have a toddler for president.
Yeah.
This is so embarrassing. I wish I was that confident and I could just say stupid shit all the time and people would believe me.
Why does he keep?
Joe's right. Like businesses, especially small businesses, are worried. They don't have a federal plan, so that's why they're partially shut down overall. That's why businesses have had to furlough and lay off their workers. The big corporations, unfortunately, are furloughing workers and still taking money from the government, and that's wrong. But small businesses are really struggling.
Yeah.
What is happening? What is happening?
John, no.
Okay.
Well, welcome to the fucking shit show, man.
I mean, I had this on while I'm interviewing Cody Smith McPhee, and I'm watching Trump just talk all over Biden. I was going nuts trying to keep it together.
We have a lot of people watching right now with us, and some of them are stoned, rightfully so. It's the only way we can get through this.
Yeah. Is he winning? Who's winning right now? Who's really got the upper hand, or is it just a child thing?
I think we're all losing because the president is a toddler.
Yeah. He keeps interrupting him, right?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, we're getting echo, John.
Oh, sorry. Let me turn it down. In fact, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm going to peace out now.
Oh, you rolling? Okay, Claudia.
Claudia, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Anything you want to plug before you leave?
Oh, at Studio CNC across the board. Just look for it, Twitter, Instagram, all of it.
And yes, and you guys should watch her show with Chrissy, her friend and co-host. They're both amazing actresses, dancers. They've done a bunch of variety stuff. So check her stuff out. Claudia, thank you so much for your time. And hopefully you can come back and be a guest soon.
I will.
Definitely.
Enjoy.
Good seeing you. Thanks. Bye. All right. So catch me up. What's been going on here? Has it just been talking over? What's the situation?
I mean, 10 minutes in, Chris Wallace is basically treating them like they're sons, right? Like they're his sons, and constantly telling Trump to like let Biden speak because Trump either keeps speaking over him, or every time that Trump gets asked a question, he deflects, doesn't answer the question. Basically what you would expect.
Wow.
And they've only he started out with a Supreme Court question, and he immediately, did not answer it again. And then now they've been talking about just the pandemic in general. And Joe is rightfully saying that there hasn't been a federal plan at all. Even though Trump has been lying about like, oh, it's going to go away. It's fine.
Right. I don't. Why is he interrupting him the whole time? Is he just trying to drown him out? I guess is the tactic now. He's just going to try to drown him out, talk him out because he knows Biden will just. But see, the smiling thing that Biden does, the shaking of the head. This is what they want. I think you just kind of have to ignore him completely. Playing into it is just frustrating. Let me see if I can.
It's just so embarrassing.
Let me see if I can get this. Wow.
People don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should turn that off. There we go. Leech96 says, I'm so glad I live in England. We don't have to deal with Trump. I cannot believe Trump got into office in the first place. Oh, and Rocha, good win on Monday for the Reds. Yes, absolutely. Boris Johnson is not that far away from Trump, for God's sake. So please, Leach, I don't know what you're talking about. I might need to.
I mean, I was telling Claudia, there's a reason why young people don't watch this shit. Why would they watch this? Actually, maybe now they're watching because it's like reality TV because it's so embarrassing.
Wow, it's taking forever to connect. Hold on. What the fuck? Hold on, I'll be right back.
Again, thank you to the almost 300 watching with us right now. I would not be watching this. I would be much sadder if I wasn't watching without friends. So thank you guys for joining us. I guess we're moving on to the economy because it's already a shit show.
All right. Can I hear you?
Yeah. Hello.
Let me see. Let me see if I can connect to the TV. Okay. Okay, so I'll have to. Can you hear me?
Yes.
No?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me? He will destroy this country. You've already destroyed it.
Why does it not want me to? Okay, so let me change. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
People know what to do. People don't know what to do because there hasn't been a federal plan where if he was a good president, not only would have not gotten rid of our pandemic response team, but he would have had people like Dr. Fauci actually telling people what to do, wearing masks, not politicizing masks, etc.
Right. I think what I'm going to do is watch it on the YouTube like you are.
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah, that's the mistake I make. I'm trying to watch it on TV at the same time, and I don't think I can have the audio on both. So let me bring it up and catch up. We have 300 of you all watching us live. I hope you're giving likes and everything like that. Here we go. All right. K-shaped recovery. Yeah.
Canada rocks. Me too. Bernie would be destroying him right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Shut the fuck up, basically.
750. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Biden's not wrong about that.
Nope.
People are asking about the economy. I'm like, how are we going to come back from this if businesses are still shut down, if schools are shut down, if people keep having to fire employees,
right?
Because there's no federal pandemic plan.
There isn't, and because they don't want it to be. These rich people want to keep their money, and they don't give a shit. Like Disney today laid off 28,000 workers from their parks. Tell you what, Disney, why don't you release the salaries and the bonuses of all these park executives? Let us take a look at that, and then we'll decide if you should fire 28,000 workers or if maybe they need pay cuts because they're living their lifestyles, and you can filter that money back down to the workers. That's what should happen. Yep. And that's not socialism. That's about taking care of the American worker. There's a difference.
How much are you charging families for to be an annual pass holder? Thousands of dollars?
Exactly.
And that money's not going to your employees. That money's going exactly what John said, to your executives.
Yep.
Do you want to read some super chats, John?
Oh, yeah, super chat. Yeah. IK S3 says, my soul hurts for those people that believe Trump's bull, calling COVID-19 something xenophobic like China plague, for example. He is hurting the country. Of course he is. Of course, it's what he wants to do. Oh, I'd love to see Trump's economic plans. Derek Martin says, I live in Mississippi, the red state. A lot of people here still think it's a hoax or no big deal. Look at our numbers. Right, of course.
And
they don't want to
think it's a hoax because, as I mentioned earlier, there's no plan. And in that plan should be informing and educating the public as to what people should be doing during a pandemic. And that has not happened. And the year is almost over and there's still no plan. I don't want this guy in office specifically because not just because of the fascism, but specifically because people are dying.
Yep, absolutely. I hear he's defending himself on the taxes thing.
Show us your tax returns. Drink.
I love it.
The assets are good. Ah, liar!
It's all lies.
So embarrassing.
I love that Biden is interrupting him too, man. Good, fuck him. But interrupt him right.
Biden was also an idiot earlier, though.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, well, he's like, I beat Bernie. Like he was saying dumb shit about.
Oof.
I don't know. I think he's just trying to get away from the socialist thing, which he shouldn't have to because he's definitely not a socialist. So.
No one's going to confuse him with a socialist.
No.
Here's the Obama administration again. Drink. Everybody drink. He said Obama administration. Drink.
What does Obama have to do with him paying his taxes?
Obama's their default for everything. It was Benghazi. Now it's Obama.
Biden's right that he's taking advantage, and that's why Biden, you should put some stuff in place there to regulate the fact that rich people need to pay their fair share of taxes.
Well, he said it would. It's one of the first things he would tackle. He said recently in an interview, and you're right. Yeah, but Donald Trump Jr. tried to do that, try to call out.
What has he done that's like good at all? The broken military. Why do we need military right now? Like where people are dying. What is the issue with the military?
Yeah.
Talk about people dying.
Basement Lounge says, this is giving me a serious hangover, and I haven't had a drink yet. Oh, I love it. TC Source says, would never have gotten this far in this farce of a debate without this group and my many margaritas.
TC Suarez, same here, man.
Suarez.
Or lady, I don't know what you are, but whatever you call yourself. Deflated Brady on the streamlabs.com/impolite truths. Thanks again for your support. Says Biden should just start scolding Trump like a child.
He should. He just should go full on, treat him like a little child. Let him blow up at him too. Because Trump will make a move to him physically. Samartis Fi says, how can people vote for this clown again? What a poop show. Hey, you don't have to censor yourself. What a shit show. I agree.
Oh, Samir, nice avatar photo there with the great John Schnepp.
Yeah. All right. Those are all the super chats that I have currently that I can pull up. Let me see if there are any that I can bring up that were from before. There we go. Now he's talking about it.
That's right. Tax the rich. What is this economy booming thing that he's talking about, other than all of his friends taking all our money?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any more that I can get to.
I read some of them. I just couldn't pull them out.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Wallace spouting facts.
Don't do the exhale thing. Don't do that. Just let him talk his bullshit and then counter him.
Yeah, they let him talk I think he just digs himself in a deeper hole.
Yeah. Stanley Kubrick, you're a resident Republican who's come back every week, or conservative. Tell me he's doing well. Do you think he's doing well? Do you think Trump's doing well? He's coming off like a child here. Be real. Chris Taylor says, God, let's just put these two in a steel cage match and see who wins.
Celebrity death match.
He can't. Yeah, you knew what he was going to do, so counter him. Don't just exhale this guy or whatever. Counter him. Yeah.
I wish we had like 30 or 40-year-olds debating instead.
I agree. But he's got to drop statistics. He's not dropping statistics. Just saying something is not enough. You've got to say, okay, the economy did not bounce back. And I'll tell you why. Because in Ohio, blah, 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 blah. That way, boom, boom, boom. You hit him with facts, hit him with numbers, hit him fast so he gets discombobulated. He doesn't know what to say. But unfortunately, of course, Biden in his 70s maybe can't grab it all quickly, you know?
China ate your lunch. He's just like a dumb bully. Like, how
Yeah,
much money did you owe China, Trump?
Yeah. This is what he wants to do. He just wants to bully around the state, which is why you got to bully him back. Yeah. But Biden's trying to play the nice guy, and that's fucking not going to work. Hillary did the same bullshit. Conservatives right now are jacking off on themselves, loving how he's stepping all over Biden. We can't, or the MAGA people, not conservatives, sorry, the MAGA people.
But it's so weird because, like,
they love this shit.
Like, how can you not see that it's all just lie after lie after lie after lie? Like,
because they don't want to see that it's lie after lie. Leech 96 says, I just want Stone Cold Steve Austin to stun Trump again. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's the Hunter shot. There's the Hunter shot.
I can't believe he said he paid millions of dollars of taxes when specifically, like, he was specifically asked for like 2019 and 2018, and or 2018 and 2017, and which was a $750, and he said, like, I paid millions.
Yeah.
Like, literal lie. We have the evidence from a good report.
Yeah. Yep. He's not gonna stop, Chris, because you can't make him stop. So why should he stop? He's not going to make you. You're not going to make him stop. You got to have someone come over and physically stop him from responding. But they're not going to do that. He knows that, so they're taking advantage of it. These MAGA guys love doing that shit. They want you to rely on being nice.
But that's the problem too. That's why there's no discourse though, because people aren't listening to each other. They're just like, no, that's wrong. But then there's no conversation. There's no discourse. There's no actual summary of facts. It's just like, actually, I did this better. It's children.
Yeah. Would this be smooth if Rogan was moderating? LOL. It would be more biased, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't trust Rogan at all.
As much as I used to listen to Rogan, I don't think he reads as much as he should in order to be prepared for something like this.
Yeah. Chris Taylor, we need a youthful president. That's true. Yeah, just talk to them. Right. There you go. Smart. Base Melange, Ohio had the best year last year. Me and Ohioan. No.
Me and Ohioan. That's funny. Can I be honest? Yes, Trump. Can you please be honest? We would love
Joe
you.
Biden said, try to be honest. I'd like to see you try to be honest. Ugh.
This is so embarrassing.
I know.
If you want to answer not my question, go ahead. Inflated Brady in the streamlabs.com/impolite truth says this debate is a mess. Need to get stoned to get through it. I hear you.
Yeah, please. He should just tell him to shut the fuck up. D-Train says, oops, sorry. Where did it go? Sorry about that. That's the wrong one.
You're right, Aaron, though.
Yeah, D-Train says, off topic, but how about them Yankees win 11-2? It's true. Good first game against the Cleveland Indians. Philippe Hunt says, this debate has been awful. Biden is my vote, but man, he's not going for the jugular. I agree, Philip. This is really ugly. Love the show. Thank you, Philippe. Appreciate it that, man.
Thank you, Philippe. And nice photo.
Brittany Parker says, drink every time Trump says Antifa. I agree. Or Obama. You'll be drunk before. You'll be dead drunk by now. Alcohol poisoning.
Oh, yeah. No, somebody was saying drink every time you hear the word socialist. I'm like, I'd be dead. John G., if I was Chris Wallace, I'd end this debate. Me too, man.
Oh, Brian Brawl, good point. Why aren't they cutting mics? Yeah, try to cut the mic on the president of the United States. With those MAGA crazy people, they will fucking come after you. No way. You know, MAGA people find out who that person was and who cut their mic, who cut Trump's mic, and they'll go crazy. They'll go after that person on social media and in his house.
But at least to let the other person talk, maybe they just mute their mics while the other person's talking, and that way there's no interruptions. Also, fact-checking would be nice.
But there he goes.
Yep. Glad Biden's bringing this up.
Upside down, by the way. This is a good shot here. Good.
Mm-hmm.
This is why he talks over him. Because he doesn't want him to get these points out.
Joe's not wrong about this. This is the most, God, what's his name? This is the most divisive president in history.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. Yeah, let's go back to 1994.
What the fuck does that do with 2020?
When you used to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
You called my people Mexicans murderers and rapists.
Of course.
Of course they support you.
Of course they support you.
Especially when you have secret police going on. Right, exactly. Yeah.
Mukbang Review says, what a goddamn disaster. No one can speak to Trump. He, like any petulant child, will not listen and cannot answer. It's sad that America has this to offer. I agree. But we put that fool in the presidency. So, I mean, we can only have ourselves to blame.
Yep.
We let it happen.
Super embarrassing.
Canada Rock says, this debate is literally just noise now. It's like a Michael Bay Transformers movie. No offense, Rocha. I guarantee you that those movies are more palatable than this debate, I would imagine.
I'd rather watch a fucking Michael Bay movie right now.
I agree. Zach Woolley, just donating there. Not putting a message there.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach. Yes, absolutely. Basement Lounge with another one here. He said, Chris Wallace is so over this. Why not turn off the mic of the person whose turn it's not? Yeah, it's a good idea. You should be able to do that.
The radical left, the radical Joe Biden, the radical Kamala Harris. So radical.
Yeah. Obama would be destroying Trump right now. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. He would eviscerate him right now.
We also have they're going to ask Breonna Taylor questions.
Ooh. Let's bring it. Answer this. Good. Now, here we go. Agreed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Violence in response. Yes. There have been so many peaceful protests that where there's been violence incited by cops, and that's Trump's fault.
Kill people all over the place. Listen to him. Just like dramatic bullshit.
Trump just thinks that anybody who protests against him, even though it's peaceful, is a dissident, which is basically being an autocratic leader, that you don't want anybody protesting against you, even though it's a First Amendment right, not only for us to peacefully protest, but for journalists to do their job. And journalists are also getting arrested unlawfully.
True.
Speaking of Streamlabs.
Yep.
Soulstar 1999 says, hey, at least Biden didn't fall asleep.
True.
Here's to a progressive candidate on both sides of the Atlantic in at least a decade. Love to the both of you and kudos on this show, guys. No pasarán.
No pasarán. Thank you, Soulstar.
They were teaching people to hate our country by having kindergartners do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning.
Right. Questioning your country in these twisted MAGA minds is hating your country. And that's not true.
No. It's just because people are hating on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they should, because he's a shitty president.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Trump doesn't know those words.
As much as I disagree with Joe, it's just nice to hear somebody talk about being kind to other people, because Trump has not done that once, because he just causes division. Yes, you're full of hatred and division.
From the right, with their pictures of
Trump,
of Obama, with their questioning his birth certificate, with their calling Michelle Obama a gorilla. All these terrible things coming from the right. There was anger. There was frustration that a black man was in charge of this country. That's what was fueled a lot of these people's extreme and ugly anger with their posters and their comments. Yeah.
On top of just not letting protest peacefully, right? Like they hated it when they hated Kaepernick, which was the most peaceful protest. I mean, that's so dumb.
That's why that sign is perfect. That one child held up and said, "We tried to do it angrily and you killed Malcolm. We tried to do it peacefully and you killed Martin. So there's no other way for us to go. There's no other way to go. There's no good way that you all will accept it and not kill our leaders." Mukbang Review says, "I think you missed my previous super chat. I'm not going to be ignored." Dan. Sorry, Mukbang. Nice famous attraction reference.
That's a good one.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it, man. Sorry, Mukbang. A lot's happening at once, brother.
While you're looking for that, I got a Cinema Guerrilla Streamlabs here.
Okay.
Outlaw. I'm not a Disney shill anymore. LMAO. I was also going to start the Disney college program around this time. My immigrant ass would have been the first to get fired. Dorina, te amo y soy dark. Te amo, Cinema Guerrilla.
Colt Badu says, "I feel bad for the transcriptionists." LOL. Yeah, I agree.
Right?
God, a lot of dots. Also killed JFK and RFK. Yes, absolutely, and more. Medgar Evers. There was a lot of assassinations and murders for people who wanted to change this country. I was just watching a documentary on Ulysses S. Grant, really fantastic History Channel, talking about how after he was made president, he wanted to change the South. And, there was such an influx of black people who became representatives for their states, and that led to the rise of the Ku Klux Klan. And he tried to stop it from happening. But political leaders in the Democratic side of things didn't want to deal with the South anymore from the North. They just wanted to let them be now that the war was over. That's the kind of shit we have to study in our country. No, yes, there was some corruption, but it wasn't Grant doing the corruption. But there were attempts from him to create the society that we claim to be about, which is equality for all. The problem is there are some people who have a vested interest in keeping us divided financially for themselves. And those people need to be taken out of this country, for God's sakes. Enough is enough already.
This is going to be bad. Now they're going to talk Black Lives Matter specifically.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, making police officers live in those communities.
There is too much funding right now. If you just reinvest those funds into the actual communities, then you don't have these issues.
Yeah.
We got a couple more super chats, I think.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Philip Hunt says, "At the end of the day, it's a play for the suburbs. People like my dad who are white moderates who mostly care about taxes." Yeah, probably true. Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Wallace is a good example of what our teachers have gone through.
Right. In debate class. This is like a bad movie fights episode. Zach Woolley just donated a little bit here for us. No message. Zach, I don't know if you can't figure out how to send the message, but Cole Padu said he wouldn't know a suburb unless he took a wrong turn. Biden, I'm dead. LOL. That's true. That's a good line. Yep.
Yeah, Biden's right.
He's
violence is and fear. It's what's causing more division, and therefore making people think they have to vote for this asshole, even though he's the one that's causing it.
Yep. And that was Kellyanne Conway who said that.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah, that's why you all need to watch this Agents of Chaos documentary on HBO. It absolutely explores how this whole thing happened from before 2016 into 2016's campaign and into 2020. Trump needs the chaos. He'll talk out of one side of his mouth about unity, but actually he wants to foment chaos, which is why he's always contradicting himself. So it keeps people on edge, and then it sows division and gives the crazy ones meat for their madness. And that's what you got to take a look at. He does not want unity or peace or anything, because if they have that, then they'll have to look at him and really tear him apart from both sides, and he can't handle that.
Yeah, and that is how bad people stay in power, is by continuing to cause division between people and blaming it on one side over the other when it's actually the people in power that are to blame for.
Yep. Yeah. This is how challenges go down behind the scenes at the You're not wrong. I'm telling you right now, you're not wrong. There's a lot of contradicting and finger pointing and yelling at each other. That's for sure.
God, these people are children. There's another stream that's coming in from a Gen Z's point of view. Eric, it's a great day to be an American. No, but seriously, I couldn't do this without the two of you. I know you don't like her, Dorina, but I miss Hillary Clinton because this is a mess. Que Dios nos ampare. Que Dios nos ampare. Look, no, I'm not a fan of the Clintons, but I would obviously rather have her as president only because so many people wouldn't have died so far. We're done, sir. Antifa. The DHS themselves, even though they're compromised, like literally said that white supremacist groups are the biggest domestic terrorist organization, not Antifa.
Of course,
Drink again for Antifa.
Antifa does not exist, for fuck's sakes. It's a boogeyman they've created to scare people into voting for Trump.
And to make people think that anti-fascism is bad, because that's what they're trying to pull.
Yeah, it's against fascism. Who's pro-fascist? I want to know. Who's pro-fa? I want to meet the pro-ant or whatever.
Yeah. Captain America himself was an anti-fascist.
Pro-fascist.
There's a reason why Captain America fought Hydra.
Yeah. Hillary lost to Trump. That shouldn't have happened. Again, watch this Agents of Chaos, and you'll see how this happened. Alex Gibney directed this thing. The guy directed that Scientology documentary. So watch this thing. It's 4 hours, but you'll come away way more knowledgeable. Profile. Yeah, profile. There it is. Profile.
Hey, Jeremy in the chat. Shout out to my friend Jeremy.
Oh, right on.
So many people were texting me to like, yeah, I'm only watching with you guys because I can't do this by myself.
That's right. We're keeping you close. D. Munoz said, gracias, you too. Thank you, bud.
Gracias, De Munoz.
How long did Winston last?
He was only able to come here till like 6.
Oh, okay.
But he stayed for like 30 minutes, and he had some really nice, insightful things to say. So I would love to have both of them back at some point.
Agreed. I love both of them.
And they both grew up, well, because, Claudia's from Texas, but they both grew up with a conservative family. So it was interesting to hear their point of view.
Agreed. Oh my God, the Space Force. Oh no.
I can't wait to never hear this guy talk again, ever. John, can you highlight that comment by Eric Castillo? Below De Munoz.
Okay. Chupacabra is more real than Antifa. Yes, agreed. Agreed.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. Philip Hunt says, I don't drink alcohol, personal choice. I might decide to start tonight. This is painful. We have 2 more of these. Thank God for Impolite Truths. Yeah, we do have 2 more of these, man. They should let us, they should bring us to these debates and let us cover it as it's going on.
Also, the bullshit he's spewing out, I'm glad Johnny 5 for Life here said that. Oh my God, the Republicans stopped Obama from filling those positions. Like that.
Yeah, that's why it happened, because the Republicans knew that if they got a Republican in there, they wanted to fill those positions. This was a whole planned out thing, which
I also love BlackRock Wednesday's comment here. He's saying the Proud Boys were just in Philly throwing up their white power signs. Yeah. Why do we never hear about that as a domestic threat? Those are actually organized groups that are threatening marginalized people and people of color in the Black communities. Yeah. That scares me more than freaking Antifa.
I'm anti-pro body. I'm anti-pro. I'm anti-PB.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Joe. Tax the rich.
El Chupa 2020. I like it.
Deflated Brady in the stream left says he didn't even denounce white supremacy when asked. He just blamed the left again.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. They can't. That's his base.
Yep.
He can't denounce white supremacists. That's his base.
There's a reason why he literally made a eugenicist comment at one of his rallies. I believe it was in Michigan, where he said, "You people have good genes."
Yeah, exactly. The fuck does that mean? But by the same token, he doesn't believe a fucking word of it. This guy is whatever it takes for him to stay in power, he'll say to whoever supports him. He's just a dog whistling fool. That's all he is.
Were you here for when Chris Wallace specifically asked him if he paid taxes in the 2 last years where he paid $750, and he's like, I paid millions. Yeah,
and then Joe goes, show us your tax returns. Yeah. Wow.
Cocaine. Damn. Your son's been making videos on cocaine, sweetheart.
Go after his son. Go after the 81 million that Ivanka has made in the White House last year with her stuff.
Or just their failed charities, or basically like the Trump kids basically stole money from a cancer charity.
And why does Trump have an issue with someone getting money from Russia, for God's sake? Give me a break. Since when the fuck did he care?
Who does he owe that?
You know what? He's probably mad that he didn't get the $3 million. That's what he's mad about. That's $3 million less in his pocket, and he owes $425 million.
To who do you think he owes all that money to?
Oh, to some pretty unsavory people, I would imagine. If Deutsche Bank, who was already convicted of Russian money laundering, is involved in this situation, then you know he owes some serious cash to some unsavory people. I'll tell you this: if he gets voted out, I would not be surprised if he meets an unfortunate accident at the hands of some people who he owes money to, like a fucking mob boss. So scary, we see what happens to mob bosses once they outlive their usefulness. They don't get to retire in a villa in Italy. It's a terrible ending.
Oh shit! They're actually going to talk about climate change.
Don't do that. Don't do that old frustrated face, man. Just let him speak his bullshit. Then wait till he gets your turn, and then
we are doing phenomenally. I'm like, not only are you taking our money and giving it to your friends, but Trump is also, and this is to blame. Both parties are to blame. I was talking about this earlier. Is that our climate change is happening because all these big corporations are doing fracking. There's fossil fuels. There's all of these things that corporations need to do in order to do their businesses. That's horrible for the environment.
Yeah. Not a fucking thing. He doesn't believe a fucking thing of it. Immaculate water.
He's Jesus, you guys.
Trees. Yes. All right. Tushka sent in one. He said, "Sorry, I put the decimal at the wrong spot, Dorina." He sent in $7.50. Watching these two geriatrics makes me want to eat some Rether's Original from the candy tray and puff on an oxygen tank. Are anti-fascists considered heels because they hate fascists? Much love to all. Oh, because they hate faces. Oh, that's a bad joke.
I was like, what do you mean fascists?
Oof. Come on, Tushka.
That's fine. Also got another Streamlabs here
Okay.
from Solstar, who says, documentary suggestions by Adam Curtis, Hyper-Normalization and Bitter Lake. Interesting and unnerving stuff on how the modern world works and how the hell we got here.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Also, we have Big Al the Tank, who says 45 more minutes of this. So how's the baseball game going?
Which one? There's like 7 of them going on right now.
I thought it was only an hour and a half.
But yeah, it's supposed to be 90 minutes.
Okay. Yes, good question, Chris Wallace. Directly.
Good jokes are in the
polluting
delivery.
our
Bad
skies.
jokes, not even delivery can help. So that's a lot.
What do the cars have to do with what he asked him? Like what?
He's absolutely lying his face off. This is insane. Yeah. It's a lie. Absolute lie.
I mean, he is a stereotype like gangster like
Oh yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
what snake oil salesman in movies. Yeah. It's like, oh, you want clean cars? I got clean cars for you. Yeah, just buy this. Just buy this.
Right. He's like, what's his face? Right in there, Karen. The cars. No. They're right in there. Right in there, Karen. Elise Johnson says, this debate would have been better with a woman of color moderator, in my opinion. It is very sad there's no fact-checking, too. Be well, everyone, and vote. Elise, I agree. I think that'll happen afterwards, but you're absolutely 1,000% right. I think Joy Reid would have knocked this out of the park. And let me look up who are moderating the next debates. I think it's on Wikipedia. Okay. Yeah, Chris Wallace obviously is handling this one. And then October 7th will be the vice presidential debate in Kentucky. Oh, no, University of State, Utah in Salt Lake City. It'll be moderated by Susan Page, USA Today's Washington bureau in chief. And then October 15th will be another presidential debate. They said it. Let's see. The Times will stream the moderator will be Steve Scully, who's the political editor at C-SPAN. It'll be more of a town hall thing. And then the third one will be at Belmont University in Nashville. Kristen Welker for an NBC News White House correspondent going for Weekend Today. She's only the second black woman to serve as a sole moderator. So we're not going to get a black woman until the third moderator. So third debate, which is October 22nd, later on, soon to be this month. So.
Is the vice presidential debate actually happening, or is Pence allowed to be in the same room as a woman?
Yeah, only if his wife is there. So Mother will be there. Mother will absolutely be there. Mother. Oh God.
Mother.
Yeah, I can't even imagine a town hall with these two. Yeah. Oh, I think you've seen it. If you've ever watched two rams on the side of a mountain fighting, is basically the same thing you're going to see at this town hall. I bet they're both going to try to outpace each other and walk around each other, walk behind each other. Ugh. If I was Biden, I'd walk around like in Boogie Nights, that kid in Boogie Nights who's dropping little firecrackers that are exploding. I would walk around town hall meeting doing that shit. Fuck Trump up mentally.
I'm voting for a chupacabra.
Jeremy McCreary says, realistically, how much impact will these debates have on the election outcome? I don't know, man, to be honest with you. I think if you're undecided, what do you take away from this debate when they're cutting each other off and talking all over each other? And of course, Trump doing more than Biden is, but like, what do you take from this? How can you, if you like this style of debate from Trump and your mind's pretty much made up because he's not going to change who he is. But hopefully if you see this style of debate, you see that this is a petulant child trying to talk over people. So maybe that changes your mind, but I don't know how much impact this debate will really have. I don't think much, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they had actual fact checkers and you didn't have to like go look it up on, you know, like follow Daniel Dale or somebody that's their job.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I feel like
thank you, Chris.
I feel like the time I saw people that had voted for Trump in 2016 and actually changed their minds later on, they either got offended at his comments towards veterans.
Yeah.
And then I also saw some people this weekend when the whole tax story came out, the tax return story came out, that they were basically saying, yeah, I voted for him 4 years ago, but I've clearly now have learned that he's a fraud. Right. Like, so there's people that are like, I voted for him because I didn't want Clinton there. Yeah. And so you never know. Like, I don't really know how the debate itself would do that, though.
Right.
Other than the fact that what you just said, John, that, you know, if you look at these stories and these reports that are legitimate, and then he's being asked these same questions as he keeps literally lying over and over again, how does that not turn you off, right? Yeah,
exactly. And the thing is, the fact checking will all come afterwards. And I guarantee you, Trump's people are like, no fact checking, no fucking way, no way. Because I mean, even on movie fights, we had Dan Murrell fact checking our stuff while we were doing the fights. So you got to have somebody after every question is debated. They have to go to the fact checker, right? Tell the truth. But you know, Trump would interrupt the fact checker. You know, he would. Trump would be like, no, it's not true. No, it's not true. No, there's 500. You do that kind of bullshit. You'd never get the fact checker to talk unless you put the fact checker in a glass encasement that is soundproof. And then the mic itself is soundproof. So all you hear is the fact checker. And then they could hear the fact checker, but you can't hear them. That would be the only way to do it. Put them in a glass case enclosed with air conditioning so they don't suffer and do that. Yeah.
China.
John, you make too much sense. Stop it. I know, which is why I'm going to run for president one of these days.
Your girlfriend gave you permission already?
No, she didn't give me permission, but I'm still going to do it. She just won't be
This is so embarrassing. Like, what do you think? Okay, you guys out there in the audience, thank you again for everybody that's joining us. We still have a little over 300 people that are not from this country. What is it like to watch this? Like, it's got to be like a celebrity death match or like horrible reality TV.
Yeah.
Chris Wallace is gonna like get drunk after this.
Oh yeah, he probably gets excited by this stuff. He probably gets turned on.
That's true. 156 Impulse in the Streamlab says, "Hey guys, so watching this debate, I can't stop laughing. I shouldn't laugh at the president. I feel so uncomfortable. But again, this debate is wild. Listen, I love this country. Whatever happens, I'm not gonna stop fighting for what is right. God help us." Yeah. Great message, 156 Impulse. I feel the same way. I'm exhausted. This administration needs to go. I'm very concerned for what's going on, especially the divisiveness, the horrible things going on down in the ICE detention centers need to stop. I'm glad they're being investigated, but it's a lot of crap. And obviously not only not fit for office, but they're stealing our tax money.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. So hopefully he will go either way. I will also not stop fighting.
Yeah, true. Chris Miner says, at least the SNL skit of this will be good. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. Sadiq, who's coming back to play Biden? I forget who's coming in to play Biden. Is it Jim Carrey? Is he playing? I think Jim Carrey.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's always great to watch. So.
Christopher X says they should have debated through Zoom so Matthews could pull a Christian Harloff and mute them when they speak out of tune. Mute him, RB3.
Oh yeah, RB3 was actually going to join us tonight, but he had another taping, so at some point we'll have to have him.
Absolutely. And Money said it perfectly. Wait, this isn't the SNL skit?
Seriously. Mike in the Streamlabs says, if they start turning off the lights, would Trump realize it, or would he keep talking?
Yeah, keep talking. You keep talking. Melania wouldn't leave either until he left, so he would keep talking. My Donald, he did so well, my Donald. God, is this the end? This could be the end.
I think so. I think these are last statements.
Yeah.
Maybe. Thankfully, guys, we're almost there.
Oh my God. I feel like this is the end of the longest workout I've ever had in my life.
Shut up. You weren't even here for like the beginning.
I was stretching out.
I've been doing this whole time. I'm exhausted emotionally.
That's true. Dorina takes these a little bit harder than I do. That's for sure. She still believes in people, so I respect that.
Look, I do believe in humans, not a few.
Right. Brandon said Trump reminds me of Kid Boo, just having a tantrum and destroying everything in his way. Yeah. He's like was it Stillwell Angel from League of Their Own. He's the little kid running around who Tom Hanks hits with the glove in the face.
He's definitely got to be a sort of toddler or child character.
Oh, totally. There's been no transition. There's Hillary.
I love how he's like crooked Hillary, which I'm like, maybe, but like you're definitely crooked. Pot kettle, baby.
They should just call him Fat Donald the whole time. Well, Fat Donald doesn't want you to believe. If I was debating him, that's what I'd say. That tubby bitch.
Do you mean by fat, do you mean short for fascist?
Sure.
It's so weird. Like it's interesting when liars just continually use big words like disaster, even though if you actually research, like you can actually see that there's very little tampering with ballots. Like, he's just saying it's a disaster because he knows he's losing.
He's just spouting all the conspiracy nuts who took pictures of ballots from like other countries and other places and put them on the internet and claimed, oh, this poll worker threw this out and blah, blah, blah. It's just a bunch of horseshit, man.
Well, and even if you just look at his Twitter feed, it's all propaganda, right? Like the Ilhan Omar fake story from Project Veritas, like all of these companies, like he only retweets like Breitbart and like actual propaganda outlets, not news outlets. It's
They're not losing 30 and 40% of their ballots. I mean, you just have to keep saying, like, Biden just be like, this guy is insane. This guy is, are you on your, like, you know. He's just going to yell over you. So yell over him. Tell him to shut the fuck up.
It's like liars think if they get louder, that people will believe them.
Of course. This is a great point. All run by Democrats. Isn't the head of the post office one of his guys? Yeah, absolutely he is.
DeJoy.
Yeah. The idiot is what I call him.
Tushka Productions in the Streamlabs says, I came to talk shit and drink tequila, and I'm all out of tequila. Nice. Chris Wallace wins the debate. No matter what, my vote is going to the third party. We need another old white guy at the table. Thank you for making this entertaining and engaging. Hashtag go Chiefs.
Yeah.
Where's Tushka from? What state is he in?
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Where did you read it? What do you mean you read?
He doesn't read.
Today?
He reads Twitter.
He's not going to let him get the question out. Chris is trying, but he's not going to let him get this. Joe, just sit there. Just chill, man. Just chill, man.
Just let him keep talking.
Let him say his mania. Just call him out.
Pull his hair. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Shut the fuck up. He should just tell him. Shut the fuck up, you clown. AOC just tweeted, someone get El Chacal to play Trump out.
That's so good.
Oh. Oh.
It's just so embarrassing because it's basically he's like, no, there's gonna be like election fraud because I know I'm losing and I can't leave the White House because I'm going to jail. So no, that's all I'm hearing right now.
Yeah. This is a dangerous narrative. Last Sith, you said, how could Biden not have put Trump away during this debate? He should have so much ammo, but he is clinching it away like 2016. That kind of stuff has to stop. I don't care how he fucking does in these debates. We've seen enough. If you haven't seen enough, I don't know where you've been. We've seen enough of what Trump is and what Biden is. So we shouldn't be trying to put Biden on a higher expectation level than Trump. So if Biden won the debate, that's all that needs to matter. A W is a W. That should matter in politics as much as it does in sports. So if he beats him, he beats him. That's that. That being said, him bullying people around the stage shouldn't count as a W either. But anyway, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the Clintoning is a good verb for it because it's like the problem here is that you can't fight a bully back by just, you have to keep calm, but you have to go, these people only listen to black and white type statements, right? Yep. So if Trump is constantly saying, no, this is not true, like people are going to be like, well, he's saying it's not true. But like Clinton, Biden is being very like, well, so that attitude is unfortunately what turns people off. And also saying things like, oh, I beat Bernie or things like that. Like, I don't care about that because I'm studied history. I'm still going to vote for him, but he's not gaining young voters, right? He's not gaining progressive voters. I mean, hopefully he did use the word defunding and he did talk about climate change. So I don't know.
He's urging people to go to these polling places to watch people doing these things. He's the one that He's the one that's manipulating the ballots. Yeah, Russia literally was sending ballots inside Trump advertisement. Right. See, that's the thing. He's trying to devalue the election so that when it happens, he has his cop out. He said the same thing before the Hillary Clinton election. Remember that election, 2016? He said the same thing. Hashtag election rigged. Hashtag, but this is out of a Russian troll farm. This is exactly what Putin did in the Ukraine. Just do your research and find out this is the same tactics that were used then in 2016, used in the Ukraine election as well. This is what they do. And Trump does it because he wants power, because he knows once he's out, this motherfucker is going to have like 75 cases against him. So it's like he knows he has to stay in power and somehow grift the American people out of more money so he can pay off the debtors that he has and get Ivanka making her money and Kushner making his money and the two idiot sons making their money so they can survive. And that's the shame of it all. Why should we have to pay for this fool's life and his family's life? That needs to stop once and for all, and so do your research. Know what he's doing. He's trying to devalue the election. He's trying to make you question the people, these hardworking Americans who work these polls. All of a sudden, out of the blue, our elections are suspect. Why? Because this motherfucker can't win any other way. So it's just like that's the sad truth of it at the end of the day, and it's a shame.
But it's not like this hasn't happened in other countries before where
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Where candidates are basically saying, oh, that's going to be fraudulent and that's why I should stay in power. I mean, that's
See, this is. I don't know where last Sith is. I don't know why he's trying to corrupt the narrative or the argument here. After tonight, the lead Biden might have had going looks to be gone or close. See, this is probably a Russian bot coming in here, sending in their bullshit to try to make people think this. It's not true. Not true at all.
Or not even just a Russian bot, but somebody that watches news on just like one dude on YouTube.
Right. You are for tonight. You guys don't understand Trump supporters if you think this election is over. Nobody thinks this election is over.
No.
Don't underestimate the major of this country. You mean the majority of this country? Try to spell correctly if you're going to Russian bot in here. But yes, I agree. This election is not over, and nor should anybody think this election is over. But I'm not underestimating the Trump voter, and the Trump voters are not a majority of this country. Hillary won by 3 million to the popular vote, and no, those were not Mexicans voting, illegal Mexicans voting multiple times. They don't have fucking time to vote multiple times.
Illegal Mexicans pay more taxes than the president. Holy shit,
right.
we did it.
Done?
Is it over?
I think
we did it.
Is
Everyone.
there a post show? Are they going to shake hands? Please don't tell me.
I don't know.
Shake his hand.
I don't know. I think they don't know what to do anymore.
Why is Melania walking up there? Where to go, Joe? You did such a good job. Thank you for bringing my family over here. I am an anchor baby.
Anyways,
we
did it, you guys. Let me check the Streamlabs really quick to make sure I didn't miss anything before we close out. We got Tushka. Deflated Brady says, did he just admit his plan is to let the Supreme Court decide the election? I mean, that has, as far as I understand, they want to secure Amy's position in order to be able to get away with not. I guess the rigging is the wrong word, but with letting certain states choose who won as opposed to who people voted for.
Yeah, agreed.
We also have 156 Impulse says, in a serious note, I'm texting my dad. He believes in Trump, and I'm watching the debate with my mom. She's with Biden. I hate this. Please keep me in your thoughts. Love you guys. 156 Impulse. That's been happening to a lot of Americans right now, where a lot of families and friends have been divided, and it's been really hard to watch. I've experienced that within my family. I know many friends that are experiencing the same thing, where people aren't talking to each other because of this, and it's horrible because as much as I disagree with, a lot of Biden's policies, as much as I know I can hold him accountable, the horrible thing is how much Trump has lied. Like, the horrible thing is how much propaganda and misinformation has spread all over our media, all over our internets, and what type of media our parents' generation is consuming. It's really easy for people to believe stuff that's not true. Yeah. And that's warping people's mind. And that's why I hope that I know it's hard, but the best thing you can do is remain calm if you disagree with someone. But if you love them, if you're part of your family, just talk to them. Yeah. It's not about being like, you're right, I'm wrong. Just be like, look at what's happening. Tell them about what's going on with, in the Georgia detention centers. Ask them how they feel about women getting forced hysterectomies. These are things that are happening. Ask them how they feel. If you actually read the entire New York Times article, it's not just about the headlines. It's not just about the fact that he paid $750 for taxes. If you actually read how much information is there on how much debt this family is in, how many businesses they've gone bankrupt. If you actually read all of these things, the information is there. You just have to show it to your family. You just have to talk to your family and have discourse and not attack each other. Yeah, agreed. Christopher Atkins, since I wish we could have had Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon reenactment. Oh, that would have been great. Grumpy old man, I agree. Let's see, we got someone in the chat who wants to come in live. Are we bringing people in live? If you want to come in live and you're a $10 and above patron of the Outlaw Nation, Sean has put the link in there in the Discord for you all to come in live. And if you want to come in live, and you're not a patron, you can donate over $10 in the Streamlabs, and we will, if you ask for the address, we will send you the address. Put your email in the Streamlab, we will send you the address real quick. You can come in and ask your question live. All right, Chad Webb, what's going on, Chad? What's the feeling after watching this shit show? Oh, Chad, you're muted. You're muted, bud.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, guys. That was
Oh my God.
that gave me a headache.
Welcome, Chad. I also have a headache.
Did we help you through it at least a little bit? Did we keep you entertained, or did we talk
Yeah,
over it as well?
Yeah, quite a bit. The impressions, and I agree. I think if we could get like a Dan cam on there,
Yeah, right. The Dan
help
cam.
out quite a bit. Yeah, I've been enjoying the show, guys. This is really great. You guys do your research. I learn a lot every time I watch. Yeah, you guys are great.
Thanks so much.
Thank
man.
you, Chad.
Appreciate it, Chad. Yeah.
Do you have a Mandy poster over there? And
I
a cheddar
do.
goblin?
I do. I love this movie. Here you go.
That's
There's the Mandy
amazing.
poster. I'm obsessed with it. If you guys haven't seen it, Mandy is amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's damn good. What do you
How
take
you
away
doing,
from this, though, Chad?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Dorina. Sorry.
No,
I
I was
know.
just gonna ask, like, how do you feel? Like, what's your background? Like, does this change things for you at all? Are you just trying to watch to stay educated?
No, yeah. I mean, it's kind of just like for fun, just to see like how it would go.
Mhm.
You know, I'm kind of like you, Dorina, where I'm like, you know, I was a big Bernie guy, and then fighting kind of hard against Biden for a while, and then you know, as soon as it was like, well, you know, this is how it's going to go. You know, it's like, well, better jump on that side of it. But I mean, well, we'll see what we can get done. Hopefully, we can. I mean, just getting him in there is not going to be the end of things.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
So-
no, we got to keep working for sure. We got to hold them accountable and do stuff that needs to be so a lot of things need to change, and they needed to be changed before Trump got into office.
That's damn sure. And I don't know where we go from here, to be honest with you. Like I'm like you said, I don't know who. I mean, obviously, I don't know if there's a winner here, but I think Biden came off better, obviously, by 1,000,000% than Trump. But that being said, I did feel like there were a number of moments where you saw Biden struggling to keep up at times, and that bothers me, to be honest with you. I don't like that. I know a younger president, a younger candidate rather, I think would have been eviscerating Trump, would have been chopping him up to pieces. Would love to have seen Bernie. Well, not maybe younger, but I think Bernie's he's sharper at this point than Biden might be. And I would love to have seen Kamala if she had gotten into this thing. Would have been interesting to see her try to tear apart Trump. She's a good prosecutor. So, I mean, I think there was some stuff that was left on the table by Biden. But that being said, I don't know. There's a tactic that you can use to defeat this guy who's constantly interrupting you, constantly talking over you, constantly wants his points to be the points you remember when it's over. And to these MAGA nuts, bullying somebody equates to winning, and that is not winning. It's actually completely against winning. It's more a matter of you're just a selfish little child who doesn't want the truth to come out or contradictory points to come out because you might lose some of the people who are on your side. So it's out of fear. What he's doing is completely out of, you look at the psychology of this, that's totally out of fear. Don't decorate it in any other way. It is nothing but fear that people are going to believe Biden more than him, because Biden has laid out some interesting and complex and layered points about issues and how to handle them. And Trump doesn't want to have that. He wants sound bites. He wants conspiracy theories. He wants nutty shit. And try to convince people to be on his side. So I don't know who wins out of this, but I think Biden comes out looking a little bit better than Trump for sure. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, if you're just constantly throwing out jabs and not letting your opponent talk, then I think you kind of actually look weak. But it just depends on who's watching. You know, a lot of people who've already made up their minds might think that shows some sort of strength. Unfortunately, AOC is too young to run right now. I think she would have laid them out.
Oh my God. They would, and Dorina, you probably know this, the press would have turned it into, oh, look at this shrill woman lecturing this elder or this old person, and they would have turned her into the bully. And so that's the thing about the press.
Like they get more offended at a woman just straight up acting like these dudes are acting, but when Trump says you guys got good genes at a rally, nobody freaks out at that.
Right, exactly.
It's so fucking weird. Chad, where are you? What state do you live in?
I'm in Maryland.
And how is it there? I know it's kind of weird everywhere. I'm just curious to what is it with your surrounding, either family, friends, and your neighborhoods and stuff?
I mean, I think this one, I think it's getting pretty okay here. A lot of jobs are opening up and stuff. Movie theaters are opening up, but I don't know how long that's going to last.
Right.
So just depends. I think other states might be suffering a little harder. Yeah. Well, everybody close to me is okay though.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that because it is a little crazy right now. So
yeah,
sure. All right, we got one more person to come in live. Chad, any other questions for us? Are you good?
No, I'm pretty good. I'll call in another time.
All right.
Thank you, Chad.
And you're a welcome addition to the Outlaw Nation, Chad. It's nice to see you, brother, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Outlaw.
Peace.
Thank you.
Peace. All right, let's bring on Canada Rocks. I don't know what's going to happen. Here.
Canada Rocks is here.
All right.
Okay.
Get ready.
I promise not to go at you, Rocha, today. I promise.
No, do it.
Do it. I'm good. I can. I'm not Trump. I can take it. Yeah, go on.
Look, oh man, God, that debate, that thing is. I can't even call it a debate. That is probably
it's not a debate.
Someone asked you before, is this going to change anyone's mind? Is it? I don't see how. Like, so, and I also saw in the chat how to about other countries and stuff. So I want, and I put in that there is no way a debate like this could happen in Canada. It just, and I don't mean to brag.
We used to think that it wouldn't happen here, pal.
No, I agreed. Okay. I'll give you that. That's a good point. Yeah. But it's just that basically, I heard from someone else. I apologize. I listened to someone else. I didn't mean to cheat. No. But they said that they heard Trump basically tell two truths during the entire debate, and everything else was a lie. Right. And that's one of the things I want to ask, since you're Americans, this whole free speech thing. Now, in Canada, free speech is not codified in our Constitution like it is in the United States. And our libel laws are more akin to the Britain libel laws. It's a lot easier to sue somebody. And you actually could go to jail for certain things when it comes to speech. And so in Canada, for the thing that shocked me was basically Trump being able to say, the post office throws the letters in the river or whatever. Said.
Right.
That would be such a huge scandal here in Canada. And one of the examples I want to give is one of your guys that you like a lot, and you mentioned too as well, Dorina, is Daniel Dale, who's actually from the Toronto Star.
Right? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's Canadian. He actually works from out here. He was doing such a good job, basically on Trump that CNN hired him for down there. Now, one of the things, I don't know if you guys are aware, probably one of the few, besides the pretty boy, one of the few famous politicians outside of Canada was
wow. Take shots at Justin Trudeau. My God. Pretty boy, easy.
Okay. No, but you guys have heard of Rob Ford, our crack
crazy man. Rob Ford, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the instances that happened is Daniel Dale was actually doing a piece where Rob Ford was trying to use the city to buy some land to buy some city land behind his property that he should not have the right to buy, but because he was the mayor, he was trying to buy this piece of land. Okay. And Daniel Dale was on the public property taking pictures and stuff. And Rob Ford called the cops on him, and then he basically accused them of peeping in on his kids and being a child molester.
Of course. Oh.
And in Canada, and in the United States, that would just be a story. But in Canada, it was huge because Daniel Dale actually threatened to sue, and he actually started to sue. That it actually forced Rob Ford to do a public apology, and that to me is so. Basically, what I want is your opinion. Are the limits of free speech just too lax in the United States? Because the stuff that could be said and passed off as news, and the stuff that you could say, like in a debate, that is just so clearly just not just wrong, but defamatory, like accusing the post office of throwing mail. That's you're accusing somebody of a crime. People go to jail for that. Like, do you think it's too lax? Because I know you're both, like, I'm an immigrant as well, but to Canada, you two, Rocha, I don't know, were you born in the States?
Oh, no, I was born here, but my parents were immigrants. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Bolivia, yeah.
So what do you guys think about, are the free speech laws too lax in the States?
Yeah. Dorina?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I don't know about laws specifically. I do know that I get a little bit, I disagree with a lot of like specifically what I call overly woke culture in the States, which is when people start trying to control people's languages, when people start saying, no, you're supposed to only say these particular words and not use these words. So when people are trying to actually control what you say, I feel like that's going against freedom of speech. But I feel like specifically for things like tonight, like the debate, right? Like for things where a candidate is literally lying and saying egregious things that are untrue, I think we should at least have fact checkers. Not so much. It's not so much like a legal thing for me. I just feel like we should have some form of like fact checking live while this is happening, so people can see, no, this is not correct. Because unfortunately, after the debate, people are going to go to their own news sources that are already biased on either side, and they're going to be like, see, Trump was right about this, or see, Biden was right about this, and then nobody actually gets fact checks, right?
Yeah, but that, like, Fox News actually, that's a good point, because Fox News would basically lies as well, right. and they get away with it as well. And yeah, that's here in Canada. There was it called Sun TV? I'm trying to remember. Basically, it was they tried to start up a Canadian version of Fox News here in Canada. Like, we get Fox News, but it's not the same because they wanted a Canadian version of it, and they never got the audience. But one of the reasons is they tried the Fox News which were a playbook, which is basically to basically say outrageous things that can't be proven, right?
Yeah, like basically propaganda. But because of the Canadian laws, and also the Canadian, you literally, if you're licensed news thing, you cannot lie. Yeah. You could actually lose your license, right? If you lie on purpose, and and that's one of the reasons why they actually went under, because there was a whole bunch of times they tried to lie, and it just became a huge scandal where they were threatened to be shut down, that they eventually shut down. Right. So in the United States, you can't do that, because Fox News basically can say what they want. No, and I'm glad you brought that up, Canada Rocks, because that's something that I believe that there should be some form of regulation for actual organizations that call themselves news, right? Like Fox News is no longer news, right? It's definitely propaganda, and so they shouldn't be part of these supposedly trusted news sources that are in our media and in any sort of cable news channel. But additionally, even just going to Facebook, right? Like, Facebook specifically has different sources that they call trusted news sources that are specifically propaganda, even worse than a Fox News, like a Breitbart or the Blaze or any of these other companies that are specifically like there to make Trump look good and to feed propaganda and create edited videos and tamper with actual things that are untrue in order to crap on the other side. So I think that should be regulated, and it's not.
Yeah. And my parents, I have to, because they're on Facebook. Oh man, I like just the stuff that they believe, because of Facebook is really and they're really left, and like both my parents are very left, but all of a sudden they start saying nice things about Trump because of what they heard on Facebook. It's so frustrating.
And it's so fast how it propagates. Unfortunately, that news propagates like that. You get a few likes, the algorithm pushes this one news item that's fake, that's literally fake news, and then it just and it propagates so fast. It's scary.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Sometimes, like tonight, I just got to tell you guys, I'm feeling down. That debate just got me so down.
Here's the deal. And I wanted to say this. I wanted to let you finish all your points here, brother. But this is what I want to say to everybody watching, who's still watching with us. Over 300 of y'all watching this live. Thank you so much. And to you as well. And maybe Dorina, you get some thoughts on this. But I think this was his plan. This was his plan. He doesn't have the facts. He doesn't have the high ground. He knows he's cooked on the COVID situation. He knows he's cooked on that military story. He knows he's cooked on taxes. So what's his plan? His debate plan here, his debate prep, right? And they released that he barely prepared because, of course, he's, he could fart a hole in one and everyone's supposed to, believe that bullshit. But this is the thing. He wanted to come in and he prepared to do this. It was to constantly interrupt Biden, constantly talk over him, constantly yell, frustrate Biden, get him to call him a name and all this kind of stuff. This was his job. This was his approach, so that the listener was frustrated about the whole situation and takes nothing away from the debate. So at no point, he knows he can't necessarily win this thing on the debate stage. So the best thing to do is to destroy or obfuscate or muddy what Biden is trying to say, or the points he's trying to make, so that you're walking away from this, like you just said, saying, I don't even know what to take away from this. When in fact, Biden was laying out his plan. The thing is, you're so caught up with it, and I don't mean you personally, but like everyone's caught up.
Yeah.
With him being interrupted. That's what they're going to take away. Sadly, you're going to take away Trump's performance from this, not what Biden was actually saying. And Biden did say stuff that was substantive, substantive. Yeah, I think that's the word. But it's going to get lost in the whole thing. And that was Trump's plan from the beginning. So it's your job as a voter, and I say that to the American people watching us, to take that away and go back and rewatch and listen to what Biden's saying. Try to ignore Trump's interruption and hear what Biden's saying, especially if you're undecided and you actually hear a plan. And that's going to be the difference here. But this is what Trump wanted to do. This is what his people wanted to do. They wanted to make it so you were so frustrated that you walk away going, God, I just wasted 90 minutes of my life, instead of going, well, let me remember what Biden said. So be careful. This is tactics. These are tactics by agents of chaos to make this happen. So you've got to work past it, is what I would encourage people to do. I don't know. Am I off on this, or do you think that might have been it too?
I think you're off. No, I'm kidding.
Or was he just a frustrated bratty child?
I actually agree with Rocha this time. And one thing that I noticed about Trump, like Trump is the failure in everything except one thing, which is he's a fantastic BS artist. Right. And his delivery, and Rocha, you might know this. Dorina, I don't know your background, so I don't know if you, but his delivery is that of a stand-up comic.
Yeah,
right. He really knows how to handle that stage and how to handle hecklers and stuff. It's really like he has no sense of humor, but he's learned how to do that, and he actually comes across as funny sometimes. And it's one of the reasons why he won in 2016. And even tonight, you saw some of that tonight. Yeah. So you can't underestimate that, because that is his one life skill.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sad part, is like he's basically you just said it, Canada Rocks. It's what's your name, by the way? Do you want people?
Oh, Raiko.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raiko. So yeah, no, I think he's really good at exactly that, bullshitting. And if he gets attacked, he will always deflect. And he'll say, no, the other guy did this. And then if he gets questioned, like he did tonight, he will always deflect. And he will do it in an attitude that, since he exudes confidence, even though he's literally lying all the time, because he says it in a way that's like, nope, this is true. The ballot's disaster. When he uses like hyperbolic words all the time, that's how you get people to believe you, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that's why I said it's like a stand-up comic, because I've done stand-up comedy, and it's the attitude.
Yeah.
It's not what you're saying; it's how you're saying it.
Agreed.
So
all right, we got to get other people in here. I know. You want to talk for hours. I know. I get it. But I appreciate it.
We have that in common, Rocha.
Get your own channel, you son of a.
Well, okay. All right.
I love you, man. Thanks for coming in, dude. I love it.
Thank you so much again. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Tushka in Oklahoma. What's he got to say about all this? What's up, dude? Have you been drinking? What's your deal?
Man, I'm out. I'm all out. All out of tequila.
Drank it all? Oh my God. Uh-oh.
I ate a whole deal of hummus. Man, I tell you.
Yeah.
I need some antidepressants after that mess.
Let me know. Let me know if you get some and send them to me, please.
Yeah, we'll do. I'll try to find the good stuff here in Oklahoma. But hey, no, thank you guys so much. I mean, it actually did make this bearable, and it was definitely it was good to kind of chat with people in there.
Yeah.
As well, and and really get like other people's feedback. Because I mean, we can all too often we can get siloed in either our own group that kind of believes the same way as us, but it's good to kind of have that Discord or even just read other people's comments and kind of see what it's like. But yeah, that was exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's over talking to each other. It's just, I like the mute button, just basically just make it like a Lincoln Douglas debate where you got your set time, you don't talk or rebuttal. Yeah. And if you do, then you get docked points or something. I mean, make it fun. But anyway, I got one question for you guys. Yep. Is it 2024 yet? Like, can we skip this like 4 years and just?
I don't want it to be 2024, and we're still having a debate like this. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you there. But no, I've kind of, of course, this isn't like a realistic situation, but. With how interconnected we all are now, I mean, with the internet, with, apps, databases, everything of that nature, do you see like a oh my gosh, was it technocracy? What's the kind of where we kind of implement technology a little bit more? Yeah. But do you see a future to where maybe we could actually vote like on more than just the person to go vote? Like us actually vote and have a little more of a say in each of the topics or items at hand.
Yeah.
Cool. Good talk. Okay.
Good point, John. Thank you for your answer.
I mean, yes. What do you think, Dorina? I say yes.
I mean, hopefully, it's just a matter of we gotta get out of the trash fire that we're in first, right? It would be nice to think that in the future we have a way. I think in general, how people vote in this country is incredibly outdated. I think it's a big problem. I think that, and look, it's part of voter suppression, right? Like the fact that they don't make it easy for people to vote. It's part of their plan because they don't want people to vote, right? Like, unfortunately. So hopefully at some point that does happen, but we got to regulate all these things that we've been talking about first, right? Like we got to regulate these tech companies because they're spreading so much, they're helping to spread so much misinformation and propaganda before that. And then once we can do that, then hopefully we can come up with a system that's better than what we have now. But I don't know when it's going to happen. We got to save our democracy first.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, that's the thing. That's the first step. Then everything else after that. I mean, because it's not going to be easy to do that. It looks like, and like you said, like other people have said, it ain't over. Even if Biden wins this thing, it ain't over.
Of course,
because there's he awoke they're woke too. Those people. Hey, maybe that could be the new term applied to the conservatives and the MAGA people. They're woke now to this supposed threat on the white majority here in this country by simply asking them to be overall civil to people of color and to women. Somehow, all of a sudden, you're taking away, something that they want to lord over people. And that's the thing at the end of the day. Those people are now awake and they're loud and they have found their champion. And who knew that there were this many people? The fact that it's even remotely close in a number of states speaks to the fact that people are willing to overlook just about any racist, boorish, misogynistic, mentally unhealthy behavior, just so they can have someone there who openly speaks their secret truths that they feel about people of color, about women, about poor people, about people who don't, or people who they claim to be, welfare cheats, all this kind of stuff. This is all the stuff that they tell themselves because they're frustrated by an economy that isn't supporting what they want to, that isn't supporting them in the way they want to be supported, without understanding that being behind these rich people is what is causing you to have an economy like this. But but it's easier to blame the people that you see as lesser than you. I can't blame the rich person. He or she must be successful for a reason. But poor people, people of color who are not successful, I can blame them. because they're trying to game the system. I'm above them. I'm better than them. So that allows them to speak their ugly truth. And Trump is the champion of that. And everybody around him who supports this guy is the champion. That's Stephen Miller, Pence, his sons, Ivanka. Yes, Ivanka. She's not trapped in some gilded jail cell. She's willingly a part of this whole thing. I wish people would stop trying to excuse her. Everybody is a part of this thing in pushing this forward. And that's the thing that's unsettling, because we can't put this genie back in a bottle. This is out now. So how do we deal with it? How do we deal with it? You know, I wonder what Biden will do, or anyone.
And to add a little bit to John's point, like I think I've said this before, that it's not that people that are still thinking of voting for this guy are necessarily themselves racist or sexist. It's the fact that they've been convinced and manipulated, and it happens not just to Trump supporters, but to people on either side, that they've been manipulated into thinking that the other side is taking your jobs, the other side is taking your money, when we have a president that literally hasn't paid not only his taxes, but he hasn't paid his debts. He's been acting like he's a successful businessman when he's been ripping everyone off, and his buddies and other billionaires also don't pay their taxes. They evade their taxes because that's the way that unfortunately, this country has not regulated things in order for there to be equal distribution of wealth. And that's why all of these people that are unfortunately still thinking of voting for him, they don't know this, right? Because they're not being educated that way. They're being taught constantly on Fox News, no. It's Black Lives Matters are like a terrorist organization. They're the ones that are, like, they're violent and they want to take your jobs and your kids. And I don't know what it's the boogeyman, in order to blame it on someone else, because knowingly the Mitch McConnells of the world, they are doing things to stay in power and to stay wealthy and take what's rightfully ours.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, I mean, creating that confusion is the prime motive, but I earnestly believe that that's been going on for both parties. I mean, it's just passing the hot potato back and forth and keeping the rest of us at bay, because the same tactics are used for both Democrat and Republican. And it's I don't know, it's almost kind of ironic and kind of funny when each political cycle, which typically has been close to about 8 years, for each double term set, but I mean, they go after the same thing, I don't know. It's frustrating. It's aggravating. I mean, I truly do want to see us evolve this political system and get it to where there are a third party, or there's more independents that are actually into the mix, that are, centralist, or at least balanced, where they're not, fear mongering on one extreme left or extreme right. But, that's a perfect world. We don't live in that just yet, or we won't ever, but we can take steps to get closer. So, I mean, that's where me personally, I keep voting. For the last 2 times I voted for a third party. I know some people think that that's throwing your vote away, or that's not backing, the one maybe that they believe in, but people compromise, and actually a lot of people around here, at least in Oklahoma, if they fixate on one topic, and that's what they vote on. It's not the whole picture.
One issue voters. And that's on both sides. I mean, because I got luckily I got Democrat and Republican friends around here, and so I get to hear their points of view and kind of speak mine as well to them. But yeah. I mean, that's just kind of what I do. I mean, I vote for the third party, and maybe this might be the last time. Please let it be the last time.
Do you really
vote for
think
Biden this time, and then you can vote third?
Well, that's
party.
my question to you, Tushka, because I have friends like you that I think I said this 4 years ago. I voted for Bernie in the primaries, and then I mean, it doesn't matter in California, right? But I still voted for Hillary just because I didn't want the other guy to win, right? As much as I don't like her still. So, do you think being in are you the state you're in, do you think it actually is throwing your vote away? Or do you think that the threat of fascism that we've been talking about in our show, do you think that you not voting specifically for Biden helps that? Or what's your just your opinion on that?
Yeah, so I voted for Gary Johnson last time. I believe in the primaries I voted for, because actually here in Oklahoma, you actually have to, if you're considered independent, you cannot vote in the Republican primaries, but you can vote in the Democratic primaries.
Right.
And so I actually voted for Bernie in the primaries. Of course, he got kind of lost in that mix once he got time to it. And then another thing, which I think there should be a lot of voter reform in a lot of different areas, but for Oklahoma, there is no write-in. There's only 3 choices. Yeah. So, and it's always the top 2, and then, use a Green Party or someone of that nature. So for not to have the write-in, I think that's a crime. But I voted for Gary Johnson, and I think he almost got like 10% or 9% of Oklahoma votes. And I think, if I remember right, I think 15% is kind of the goal, because then they actually get, like, I don't know if it's a little bit more like kind of speaking time or maybe TV time or something of that nature. But and I don't claim to be a political scientist or anything of that nature. But yeah, I think it does, actually, it may be a little bit of a drop in the bucket, compared to the red state. But even here in Oklahoma, a lot of our mayors are actually Democrat, which is kind of weird. It's a weird mix, but yeah, I really do see value in it. Because being in a smaller state, my vote does hold a little bit more weight than maybe it would have been if I'm in New York City or somewhere where there's billions of people. But
right.
Yeah. I think I would rather vote for something I believe than to vote against something I hate, because I feel like going against things you hate isn't necessarily, like, I don't know, maybe just for me, my conscience or something of that nature. But that's just kind of my mantra. I want to speak life into the things I want to see. I want to support the things I want to keep around.
And that would be a nice that would be a nice thing if we could all be able to actually do that, right? Like if we actually had 2 good choices and pick one of them, right? Like as opposed to how I've always voted, which is choosing the less shitty one, right? But I just meant specifically this particular election. To me, I really think we could lose our democracy if Trump stays in power and the Senate stays in power. So that was mostly my question. It's do you have that fear at all, or does that not?
No, because for one thing, I just kind of reject fear in general. Again, I like to kind of speak life, and as a Christian, I believe that no matter what, whatever the world throws at you, I'm highly favored, set aside, and that I'm kind of under that protection. Do I fear civil war? Do I fear that if this continues and that there may be civil unrest, which would enact martial law, which a lot of people thought that was going to happen, I think at the end of the Obama one or whatever. I don't want to see that happen. I definitely don't. But I also do believe that our forefathers actually had enough sense to create a decent amount of checks and balance. It's a little bit swayed in the favor of the right now. Doesn't mean that we can't, as a populace, balance those scales to a degree. With the Supreme Court, I do wish that they would wait before they announce it, or wait until for the next president, because that's what they did for Trump. So there's a lot of things where I really wish that we would kind of be consistent within how we act and kind of put in place. But I do believe that there's a good enough check and balance that democracy is not just going to collapse and fold in on itself.
I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right, because I'm already seeing a lot of stuff not working and breaking. So I really hope you're right. And but I also just hope that these people don't stay in power. So,
But I'm always going to speak life, and I'm going to speak to the good, and because I believe our thoughts and our actions and our words hold weight. And so that's what I'm just going to continue to do. And if it comes down here to the South, then we'll deal with whatever. But I'm going to keep loving people and hope for the best.
Respect, Tushka. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you, Tushka.
Good to see you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Colin, what's going down, man? How are you doing, brother?
Colin, I think you're muted.
Totally muted. I was trying to be nice with them. Just doing my best to hang in there. It was a weird night, it's just hard to watch, honestly, because on either side, no matter what way you go, this is hard to watch, because you're either polarized so far on the left or you're polarized so far on the right. And it's just hard to imagine, what could either of these men say to someone on the fence that would make them go a certain way. And I just didn't see that tonight from either of them. The fact that the president thought it was a good idea to continue to interrupt people and I'd love there's these NFL crazy statistics. I'd love to see the statistics on how much of the time he spoke tonight was just interrupting people.
Right.
I guarantee it's between 25 and 30 minutes of him just talking over people. And we all know, we live in this world of Zoom calls and everything. We know how hard it is to, hear what the other person is saying. And they were in the same room.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even understand what the other person was saying. Right. And it's just hard. So I guess, my question to you guys is, how would you appeal to someone who's on the fence? Because unfortunately, my father, who I think is one of the smartest people in the entire world, and is a veteran, served in Desert Storm, and went to the Citadel here in Charleston, South Carolina. And I walk into his house, and Fox News is on 3 of the TVs in the house. Wow. And there's nothing that I can say that doesn't make me come across as crazy. So I guess, is there anything y'all would say to him to make me not sound as crazy, as just to maybe open up the ears a little bit?
What do you say to him? Or what have you tried to say to him?
A lot of it is just throwing basic facts, at least ones that I see as being basic facts. Like, he's lived in a different state. Like, he just moved back here to South Carolina. So he lived in Alabama for the last couple of years, and he recently moved here. Not to say that the demographics in Alabama and South Carolina are too crazy different, but he's, I tried to bring up things like, well, maybe at the beginning of coronavirus, we shouldn't have sent millions of pounds of protective equipment over to China, and then things like that. And he's like, well, that's not true. That didn't happen. Right. And then I pull up an article saying, well, this is true, and it did happen. And then he tries to tell me how, well, that doesn't matter anyways. And it just spirals into another lie on a lie on a lie. So it's just a spiral.
Right.
You're basically describing what I was telling Tushka. I think that there's so many of these conversations happening where people are just not. You're like, nope, I have the facts, you don't, and then vice versa. Unfortunately, and it's gotten, this division has gotten wider and wider. I can't. I'm still trying to figure out how. What I would say is, maybe instead of saying something like this particular side did this wrong, maybe just explain how Fox News works, right? Like maybe go from instead of actually talking politics, just explain how the media works. Like maybe get your dad to watch that new Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma. It's a lot of stuff that we already know, right? But like, it explains to you how propaganda works, how misinformation spreads so quickly. It actually explains in kind of layman terms, like it explains it to people like that like I think some of it was a little bit like cheesy, like some of the reenactments, but I think it's good for the general audience to see that. But it basically explains how how other countries have suffered the loss of their democracy just because most of the news that citizens in those countries read from is Facebook. Yeah. Right. So if you can explain to your dad, okay, this is who owns Fox News, this is who owns Breitbart, and then these people were all bloggers there, and then I guarantee you your dad probably also listens to somebody like a Candace Owens or like a Tommy Lahren, right?
He's
like
actually a Joe Rogan guy.
Well, that's the other problem, right?
That's my biggest problem with him, is like the man who claims to be, so in the middle that he's so in the middle seems to have pushed my dad further to the right without even realizing it. Or if he does realize it, it's extremely frustrating that he continues to push the message that he pushes.
And he also did actually apologize recently. Joe Rogan did, because that's the problem, right? That he will say things like, oh, the fires in Portland were actually started by people on the left, right? Yeah. And it's, which is propaganda, right? That's not correct. And then he had to apologize for that. But when he apologized, he didn't say, he actually said, oh, I said people started those fires. He didn't specifically say, I wrongly said that people on the left started these fires, right? And so that's the problem. He also, if you have people on your show, like a Gavin McInnes, I think is his name, like if you have people on your show that are leaders of violent groups, that's a problem. Because look, I'm all for discourse. I'm all for talking to people and treating them as human beings. But if you're the leader of a white supremacist group, you shouldn't be going on a YouTube show and being humanized. Right. And you should be called out for propagating violence. For
humanizing this situation as well. I absolutely agree with you 1,000%. Colin, I wish I could give you a great answer, brother. I don't have it because I don't think it exists, to be honest with you. And I appreciate Dorina's look at it and suggestions, and I hope it works. But what my experience has been with a lot of the older generation is they don't care what your logic is. They don't care what your facts are. They don't care what your reasons are. They are not going to change their minds. And you got to look at it. Was there anything your father could say that could make you change your mind about how you believe about these situations? And it doesn't mean you're bad or just as bad as your dad or anything way, shape, or form, but you've got a very strong belief about what you think is right. They have a strong belief about what they think is right. But I feel that the people who go along with the Trump situation, the Trump worldview, are afraid of a loss of power. Your father is an older man. Is there a fear of a loss of power? Is there a fear of a loss of strength? Is there a fear that he has to change who he is as a person now this late in life? Not a lot of people want to do that, and they've bought into this. And listen, my friend, Michael Vogel, who's one of the Geek Buddies, his dad is a doctor, a respected, rich, intelligent doctor, one of the sweetest men I've ever met. Hardcore for Trump. Insane. And you just can't explain it. Even people with degrees on their walls just are so adamantly for this guy because I think they sense in a subconscious way a loss of power. They see the coming up of people of color. They see the coming up of women. And though they could mentally support it, I think they also see that it means an eradication of this kind of power that they used to have and maybe having to confront some of their own behaviors from the past. And a lot of people don't want to confront that kind of stuff. Not that they were overtly mean, but they may have to take a look at themselves in a way they don't want to take a look at themselves at this advanced age, and they want to just relax and enjoy their lives. But they watch that Fox News stuff, which cuts and edits videos of Antifa, supposed Antifa protests, setting stuff on fire, as Trump said tonight, killing people all over the place, which is, of course, a childish thing to say and an irresponsible thing to say for a man who can motivate people to commit murder, which we've seen for the last almost 4 years that he's been in office. It's an irresponsible thing to say, but he doesn't care. So you look at this situation, go, well, what can you say to your dad? I don't know if there's anything you can say to your dad because you strike me as an intelligent guy, Colin, and you sound like you love your father very much. So I'm assuming that you've tried it every way possible to get him to see your point of view. And at some point, you just have to say there's no getting through. You're just going to keep doing what you do and trying to be as open and respectful and nice as possible to your dad to get him to see things and hope one day there's a crack in that wall and he hears you. But I don't know if there's anything you can say that Dorina and I can give you that'll work.
Yeah, because at least maybe something like the actual human issues, like if you specifically told your dad what's going on. I don't know if I'm assuming he doesn't know because Fox News never talks about this. Yeah. I don't think Joe Rogan talks about this either. But if I had a platform like Joe Rogan, I'd be talking about the forced hysterectomies in the Georgia detention centers immediately, right? That's what I would be giving my platform to. So maybe I would ask your dad, like, this is something that's happening. Let me show you what's actually happening right now, and this is because of the people like Stephen Miller. This is because of the people that Trump has surrounded himself with. There were already bad things happening at the border, and people being deported. I think Obama actually deported more people than Trump before the administration. However, these things are actually like eugenics, right? This is actually like genocidal. Like, this is really horrible things that are happening right now that I wonder if your dad probably has no idea that's happening. Right? Like your dad, that's not the news that's being covered in his outlets, right? So it's a matter of just showing them, by the way, this is happening and this is bad. How do you feel about this? How does he feel about the fact that Chris Wallace specifically tonight asked President Trump he basically asked them to denounce white supremacy. And his answer was to tell the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. Yeah. And then he started talking about Antifa. That's a problem, right? How does your dad feel about Trump telling a crowd in a rally crowd in Michigan to say something like, "Hey, you guys have good genes, right?" These are all really bad things, and Fox News is never going to talk about those things.
No, of course not. You can't talk about that when their bread is buttered financially by what Trump is doing. Listen, all these Fox News bobbleheads, they've got themselves multiple houses, multiple cars, multiple mortgages, kids in college. And they look at those zeros on the end of that paycheck every week or every 2 weeks. And the last thing they're going to do is start denouncing Trump. Shepard Smith is one of those rare cases. He's finally come back after a year hiatus to start his own news stuff. But a lot of these people that talk against Trump, they rarely stick around on Fox News. Chris Wallace is the anomaly. He's still there hanging and banging with those people. But like you can tell, he is willing to go after Trump. He's not afraid of Trump. He's not intimidated by Trump. He will go right at Trump. He's from that Wallace family. They have no shame doing, speaking truth to power. But at the same token, a lot of those people there, Steve, dude, look at Britt Hume. Britt Hume used to be one of these most respected ABC news reporters at the White House. He's a nutball talking about Biden having dementia and being senile on Twitter.
Crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It's not. It's they're all getting that money, man, and their brains just turn to mush, and they'll say whatever they're being programmed to say because the money is good. And at the end of the day, that's the sad truth. They never really had any morals or principles. If you can be bought, you have no morals or principles.
Yeah. And also,
speaking of money, like my dad, his favorite quote to me whenever I would bring up anything, and I've voted for Bernie as much as I can, and just to be free and clear, he said to me, everyone's a Democrat until they have to pay taxes. To which I have to say, did you see the New York Times report this week?
Right.
Because I'd love to know what you think about that.
Right.
Because that to me is where
rich people,
the fact that you have to lay down on them, right? You have to lay down that like this is somebody who sold themselves to you as someone who's like you. Right. And that is what I think is the most dangerous thing that's ever happened in American history, is that Donald Trump weaponized a majority of people in this country to make themselves feel like a minority. And that is one of the worst things that has happened in the history of this country, is that a majority of people feel like their lives are at risk, and they're not. No, they're really not. And it's been so politicized to go either way. Right. But more importantly, from, caravans of radical lefts coming up from Central America. It's like, all of that. No, you mean those people who are coming to your prosperous place that you promised as this open haven of acceptance, and now suddenly it's not cool for people to come here, but it was cool for your ancestors to come here. That's always been my biggest problem with people on the right who have been like, immigration. You're an immigrant, right? You're an immigrant. So quit telling people to come here when nobody gave you permission to come here. Right. You just did it on your own.
It's true.
And especially when, it's crazy that the rhetoric of Trump's campaign initially before he won, was basically saying immigrants are taking your jobs, right? Calling my people murderers and rapists, right? Like all this stuff that at the end of the day, like it's crazy to have them completely propagate these lies while undocumented immigrants pay a shit ton of taxes.
Right.
And more taxes than the president, right? So but it's all about just maybe hopefully like you can talk to them and just be like, these are things that are happening. So tell me what you think of this. I don't think Fox News shows this stuff. So, but this is actually happening. And you can show him like several like news sources, right? Like pick a topic that comes from like not just the New York Times, but like other political sources. There's conservative sources out there that are against Trump. Yeah. Right, like it's not just the Lincoln Project.
Lincoln Report, right? It's not just the Lincoln Report.
Project. It's like the Washington Examiner was talking about the New York Times article, right? Like there's a lot of conservative. The Drudge Report is criticizing him as well. Yeah.
So I think you had to scroll for at least 2 minutes on the Fox News app. Yeah. Somebody posted a video on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, that you had to scroll for a whole minute and a half before you saw even one story on the Trump tax returns.
Exactly.
Tons of stuff about how rioters and looters were burning down the country, but nothing on Trump at all. It's just
it's literal propaganda. It's how people in Russia stay in power.
Exactly.
That's what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also show a really quick call in because I love what you said. Show your dad just the Michael Caputo story is like insane. Just show him who he is. Like teach him Michael Caputo. Like but you could just be like, this guy worked for Putin. He was lying to us about our health. He was a spokesperson for this health organization. There's so much out there. It's crazy.
But it's fake news, Dorina.
Exactly.
I know. Thanks, well, best of luck, Colin, and thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
Sticking around, brother, man. I got some super chats here, and then we should wrap up. Dorina, I'm tired.
Yes, I got a few stream lefts too. So let's go through super chats first.
Okay, I got to go to a meeting apparently after 9 o'clock. All right, Haskell420 says, CNN, well, that was the worst debate in history. That was a sheet show, and this was a disgrace. Next debate, put them both in boots, and when it's their time to talk, mic turns on. At 0, mics go off. Wow, that's a great idea.
That would be nice, Haskell.
No way they'd agree to it, but I'd love it. All right, what do you got? I don't think I have any more. That I see.
Okay. Johnny 5 for Life says, I can't listen to this anymore. Trump sounds just as ignorant and full of hot air as I thought he would. I'm just happy I have convinced both my parents to see the light and vote against Trump, even though neither are fans of Biden. Yeah, man, that's how. Welcome to our lives. Yeah. Like, we are not fans either. We just want to keep our democracy intact.
True.
House Heisenberg says Biden shouldn't have even debated Trump. Anyone who paid attention to the primaries knows Biden is a weak debater, and without a teleprompter, he frequently loses his train of thought. Biden did okay, but it was exactly the shit show I thought it would be. Yeah. It was certainly a shit show. It was pretty embarrassing.
Right, but once again, don't just get caught up in that. Go back and go. If you're an undecided voter or you're a voter who needs more information about Biden, read the transcript of the debate if you can find it and see the substantive things that Biden was trying to say. He was saying things when Trump was interrupting him. He wasn't just getting 3 words out and then Trump was just totally stomping all over him. He was getting multiple words out. Trump was just trying to talk over him because he's trying to kill his message because he knows his message will lure more people away from Trump. This was an entire tactic. So do your research, do your work, do a little bit of extra effort, and don't just write off the debate and say, fuck it. There's people who need to get swayed into the Biden camp so we don't have this shit show as a president for another 4 years. Do your work on that end if you want to sway people. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, lots of yelling, and that's what makes the headlines, unfortunately.
True. Sadly true.
Deflated Brady says, I'm not confident we will get a good result in the election. The anti-LGBT, racist, and sexist behavior has become normal again in my area, at least. I can't even wear a pride shirt when I go to the store because telling it like it is a Trump way. That's honestly my biggest, biggest, not just the horrible things that are happening to, immigrants, et cetera, but, and obviously our Black community and just any hate derived to any hate that's directed towards marginalized communities, whether it's LGBT community, whether it's the Black community, whether it's minorities, etc. Like, there's no reason for that. Like, I can't imagine being just yelling at somebody for them wearing a pride shirt. Like, that's the most horrible thing this president has done. Trump is divisive. I think John Kelly said it as well. He's the most divisive president that we've had in history. Like, it is not like, did you guys not grow up on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Be kind. Like, we can't keep living like this. It doesn't make us humans to say we're better than other humans. We are all the same. We all go through joy. We all go through pain. So treat people like human beings. And this president, don't be a bully like this president, because you're going to end up very unhappy and alone.
Yeah, agreed.
It's so sad to me. Colin, go ahead.
I got 2 real quick. Derek Blaney said, I live in West Virginia where Trump was talking about ballot fraud. What he didn't say was it was the Democratic ballots that were tampered with, not Republican. Of course he's not going to say that. He just wants the overall idea of his point is not that Republican ballots are being fucked with. His point is that all ballots. So he wants a cross section of people to not believe in the election. That's his whole tactic. His whole point of this is to make you question the election, regardless of what side of the political fence you are. That's why he's not specifically saying Republican ballots. And then DGMC says comedians can be authentic, unlike politicians.
True that. Sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty inauthentic comedians. Anyway, yeah.
I got a few more Streamlabs here. Okay. Thanks again, guys. Colin Morris, just supporting us. Thank you, Colin. Leonard Kim says, hey, John and Dorina, thank you for suffering through that with us. Misery truly loves company. There's so much to unpack and dissect. But my biggest takeaway is that the rest of the world is probably laughing their asses off. Utterly embarrassing. I mean, yeah, that's I thought I moved here from Mexico because things were going to be better. So. And they are in certain ways, don't get me wrong. But okay, we got Philly G, who says that orange goofball actually tried to answer Wallace's rhetorical question about not interrupting. I've only seen that type of idiocy in the movies or TV. It does feel like the worst movie For sure, Philly G. I think that's it from my end, John. What about you?
No, we're done with the super chats. That's everything. So thank you to everyone who donated to us tonight and in support of us doing this. Dorina, this was 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours. Oh, no, over 3 hours.
3.5 hours.
For you, certainly 3.5 hours. For me, about 2.5 hours of this. And this is an absolute insane situation. But we got through it. We heard from both candidates. There's a lot of talking over each other. So if you want to find out what Biden actually really stands for, what he's all about, find the transcripts that'll be in the newspapers or online newspapers and read his answers to the questions. Look past Trump's interruptions or his verbal part of the transcript and listen to or read what Biden really believes and what his plans are for things, and see if you can take something from that will encourage your vote even more, or encourage you to be more confident in your vote. So that's what I would say. But we got through it, Dorina, for the love of God.
We did get through it. And guys, I think we are actually are we going to be doing all the debates, John? Do we got to talk about it? Or it depends on the time.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to be, just because I'm going to do it doesn't mean I'm not going to still be a part of this thing. So we are doing it, Dorina. We got 3 more of these with the vice presidential debate lumped into this. But maybe, just maybe now, we're going to have some new precautions. You know, people will react to this. People will want changes. So hopefully we will get this. I don't know if you could do it in a town hall style meeting where you put them in booths, because they're supposed to be able to walk around, but maybe there will be limitations of the kind of back and forth that you can have. Because at some point, what are you going to do? You can't tell the president of the United States to shut up. I mean, Biden did, but you can't actually physically make him shut up, can you? He's got the Secret Service behind him. So he's the president of the United States. So what tactics do you possibly have? So that's what's got to be explored here, because he's not going to listen to anybody because he doesn't respect anybody. So I don't know what they're going to do in these other debates. But
we shall see. I know the next one is Wednesday, October 7th, which is next week. And that is, I believe, at 6 p.m. Pacific. Yep. So I have another stream for my World Girl show that night, but I can pop in and out as well, like John did today. So we'll do that. And as much as I'm not like a Kamala fan like a lot of people or anything, but I was just excited to watch Pence be really uncomfortable. Yeah, but anyways, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I know it was a long stream, but we couldn't have done it without you guys. I certainly would have not had this crazy times that we're living in. I can do this because of you guys, because of John, because also shout out to Claudia Dolph and Winston Marshall who joined us earlier in the stream. We will have more guests probably next week as well. And again, thank you guys so much. I know things are crazy, but we got to keep talking to each other, because we can't keep just yelling hate to whatever side you're on. Just please treat each other like human beings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Dorina, you can follow Dorina at Evil Dorina, and you've got your YouTube channel as well.
Yes, Bad Bruja. I'm actually going to be doing a fun DJ Halloween party there in October. That's basically the opposite of politics. If you want to come dance the rage away, we'll do that there. And then also our channel, the new YouTube channel, The World Girls. We are streaming every Wednesday, and we're giving things a whirl. It is really fun. We're just being silly with you guys. So hopefully you'll catch us there as well. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Dorina. I always appreciate doing this with you. And this was, if I can say anything, the time flew by, honestly, with you, because I always appreciate your point of views on things. You always have such an interesting point of view and things to say, which I can't thank you enough for jumping on this journey with me. We're having a blast. And thank you all so much for being a part of this as well, letting us entertain you. We maintained over 300 people in here for the better part of 3.5 hours. So hopefully we changed some minds. We got you guys a little information. Maybe you felt a little bit like we were all in this together. So keep coming back for these. And no, there is no show this Thursday. This is our show for the week. I'm moving on Thursday, so I'd like the night off if I can. If not, there might be an Outlaw Nation show if I can secure a certain guest that I'm looking to secure. We shall see. But if not, we will take the night off. And then next week, as Dorina said, on the 7th, we will have the vice presidential debate. And maybe we'll do a follow-up show with Dorina as she pops in after she's done with the World Girl stuff for sure. So it'll be on her how she feels, if she can do that or not. But all right, thanks, everybody. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. There'll be more content just like this coming through with us up until the election day. That's for sure. And maybe even after, depending on how we feel about it. But also like this video and share this video on your social media. I think we're two of the best people to talk about this kind of stuff. So let people know about the kind of conversations we're having over here, and bring more people over to the Impolite Truths crew. And let's have some great conversation with them as well. well in the chat. All right, that's it from us. We'll talk to you next time. Please take care of yourselves. Be well and be nice to each other for the love of God, please.
Please be nice.
And wear a mask. Bye.
Wear a mask.